Hello, Parna. Thank you so much for joining. I'll just give you the mic. There are some network issues at my end. I don't know. I was just doubtful if the tweet was having the right space link or not because I was not able to fetch the space. Then somehow I threw another different link I had earlier sent to some one of my friends through that I could join. So I thought maybe issue, but since you guys are joining, it looks like that everything is fine. Thank you so much, Paris, for joining. I'll give you the mic to speak. I don't know, Parna, if you received. Um, okay. Hi, Srikar. I don't know what is happening. Oh,
Hi Sonali, hi Parna, hi Paras, how are you all?
hi, hi. Hi, Mahesh.
Hey, hi Mahesh, how are you?
Srikar, I would just like to make you the co-host as well because I have a bad weather here and I do not trust my electric supply, so it can.
Okay Sonali, that's fine.
Yeah, but are you all getting the mics or not? I'm confused. Parna is constantly getting dropped from the speaker position. Paris, I have sent you the invite. It is showing me that I have sent you the invite. Parna, I am continuously sending, also getting the requests, but it is not working from your end, it seems, or it's something wrong at my end. I don't know. And okay, Srikar, I have sent you the invite to be a co-host. Okay, let's wait for some time so that people join in. Yes. So, how was the week, Srikar?
Okay, the entire week. The week went well, but like even I'm having some trouble. I'm also not well, physically not well. I woke up with a stomach ache and it's still persistent.
Oh,
Yeah.
hmm.
So how are you?
Mine also going on by God's grace. You know, sinusoidal life is like that only.
Okay, due to
But
weather.
yeah, due to weather changes in, just not physical weather changes, everything. So internal, external weather changes are always there. And in fact, we are talking probably after 2 weeks because you were not there in the last week.
Yeah, but we spoke on MySpace, right, on Sunday.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, for poetry, we are speaking after 2 weeks.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, did you, I mean, get any time to hear the recording of the last poetry space by any chance? I mean, it's
Mm.
obviously no, probably because everybody's busy. Yeah,
Yeah, I haven't heard it.
yeah.
I have been doing some client work, and it's also like over 3 hours, right? So I haven't heard it.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
But
it.
you can tell me, like, just brief it out. Like, how did it go?
Yeah, it was very interesting. In fact, I mean, this is the first time I did not write a thread after that space. I mean, waiting for a few things. I'm trying to bring a little change in the threads also. So some R&D was required for that, and that's why I mean I'm delaying this one. But it was amazing. Like. Nikki was a poet. I mean, she is I mean, she retired army officer and a life coach.
Okay.
And I mean, from she has done a lot of things. She was in IT department as well, IT sector as well. She has worked as an IT engineer as well. So, and she was a poet. So everything, she was very nice. To have her in the space was like really amazing. And we had quite many new um, participants that day. So it was nice. I mean, even the quiz section was very interesting. If you get a chance, I would suggest. I'll tell you the time when around what time the quiz section starts. The quiz section was quite interesting. Probably the best of all the spaces we had in the quiz part.
Okay. Like who won the quiz?
Nobody won. Actually, nobody could answer any of the question. So nobody won. But the I mean, questions were very interesting, and everybody were enjoying the entire process. I mean, so
Okay. If I were, I would have won, I guess.
yeah. I mean, you are. I that is there. There are reasons why I miss you so much whenever you are not there.
Okay, thank you. Like, is that like it was actually like I was ready for the space, but like the client called and said that like there were some editing. If at all it's some new work, I would have refused it, but it was editing rounds, so I couldn't refuse it.
Hmm.
I should have. I mean, I had to go at that time. So yeah,
No issues. I mean,
but it's
we
okay. Like,
yeah, we
yeah.
have to do what we have to do anyway. So, Parna and Paris, I have sent you the invite to speak once again. I don't know what is happening with this two of you. And Mahesh, would like to hear from you. How was your weeks since the time we had you in our space? Hello, Mahesh. Are you speaking on mute? Yep.
Hello. So my work from home office has started, so it's been quite hectic for me since we last spoke.
Okay, so you're going to office.
Yeah, and it took around 3 hours a day into commute. So you can guess my day.
Hmm. That really becomes tiring. So you are not getting the opportunity for hybrid model. Is it completely all 5 days a week work from office?
Yeah, so I'm supposed to get trained for another team, and that's why it is compulsory for me to attend the office. Otherwise, all other my team members are working from home, and that kind of
Okay.
sucks.
Hmm. That's painful, painful. In fact, actually, after such a long break, we are going to office, right? I have also been called to office back, but I mean, we are still given the option to have a hybrid model. So most of the people are choosing that. So it's like kind of 6 days or 8 days a month.
Okay, I'm
Yeah,
jealous.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, it's still. I mean, it. I the first day I went to office, it felt good as well as bad. I mean, it's a very mixed feeling, and something things are like somewhat. It's just newborn office kind of a thing. Like it's still not the same shape of office we earlier used to have, the same ODCs and all. So the sitting arrangement is the most clumsy part. I mean, like kids, we are given dates and seat numbers, and we are sitting on that particular seats. So that's really something funny. But yeah, okay.
For me, it's the part of commute that was, you know, something I didn't like, but now I'm converting that and using that for reading. So I think it's good
Hmm.
now.
That's the best thing to do. I used to do the same because for me also it's around to and fro, it's around travel time minimum 3 hours. So I to like feel very, I mean, what where all this time are going like complete waste. So I used to read in the daytime. Obviously, in the night it's not possible when we return, but during the day it's a good option. Yeah, I don't know where are other people. 15 minutes. Strika, any idea about Kirtivas?
No, Sonali, I have no clue.
Yeah, he didn't respond to my message, though I sent message quite late today, but he hasn't responded yet. Suman also, I haven't got any response. Subramanian Anna had told that he had some work, he might be little late. Shine told that he is having work till 8 and then he will just sleep away, so he is not able to join today. And Amrita said she would join. She said she would join. Dilbag also said he would join. So I think we should give them some time to join. Hmm. So yeah, Parna, want to hear from you. Somehow we struggled so much, and finally I can see you.
Finally, I mean, I seriously had to restart my phone to get the access.
Yeah, yeah, it happens. Like can't help.
No, I really thought like it might be because of my bad weather here. It's
Yeah.
raining really hard, and I thought like the network issue is happening from my end. And I was
Hmm.
constantly sending you requests and
Hmm.
getting the
You're in Kolkata, right?
No, I stay in Jamshedpur.
Okay, because just because you said bad weather, I thought you were in Kolkata
The
because
eastern part is like similar kind of weather. Kolkata and Jamshedpur
okay.
are like twin sisters. We share
Oh,
the weather mostly the same.
okay, great.
It's just that Kolkata has like the lower kind of temperature as compared to the Jamshedpur. We have like
Acha.
40, 43, 45 temperature in
Oh my
summers.
God.
And in winters
So,
we go down all the way till 3.
oh my God. So, I mean, how is the humid there? Do people sweat or no?
Tremendously.
Oh, then though it's very bad.
It's it's really humid.
Hmm. Today evening, actually, we had a thunderstorm, and it was tremendously like it was looking like probably it will do quite much of damage. I was wondering, was there any forecast of any cyclone or what? But somehow, after a few minutes, it just the intensity went down, and the weather is now very calm. But you know, the internet, electricity, you can never trust in such weathers. So I was just worried. I don't know if I'll be able to host the space tonight or not.
Exactly. I mean, trusting the internet at least around this kind of weather is very much like questionable.
Yeah, true.
You stay in
So
Kolkata, right?
yeah, I'm in Kolkata right now.
Oh.
Hmm. And I was thinking that Rashi would be joining, but I think she has also not replied. I, I think, actually, one of the reasons behind is I sent out the invite so late today. So,
I saw your invite and I was like, okay, I'm going because the entire day I was working. It was my week. I mean, it was my day off. Yet I
hmm,
had to like do the last minute working as similar kind of Shrikar is doing editing part.
hmm, hmm.
Uh, the editing round was going on, so I couldn't just say no. I had to literally add and I was like, nay, I'm not missing the Sonali's poetry session. So
Great, great.
I finished out as soon as I could.
Great. It really feels great that, poetry spaces can add value to people, and this is what you believe in as young people, is very encouraging. And it's very, I feel very hopeful about poetry. I'm like sounding like a very old poet, with gray.
No, no, absolutely not. I quite believe in this fact that poetry brings a new you. Poetry brings forward someone who is not yet like talked about much.
Hmm. Yes, that is why we are talking in the spaces. I mean, we are sticking to the poetry genre for the last 12 spaces. In fact, 13 if we include the celebration space. So in celebration space also we had poetry. I mean, in fact, Mahesh and Srikar had poetry debate. So you're Parna Bhattacharya, you are a Bengali, I suppose, and you would know about Kobil Lorai, I suppose.
Kobi Guru.
No, not Kobi Guru, Kobil Lorai. Kobial hota hai na?
So
Kobial.
Kobi Lora, I'm not so familiar with the terminologies because my Bengali
Oh,
studies have been still standard four.
okay, okay.
I
You haven't
formally had to
watched.
like, formally had like studied Bengali till standard four. After that, like speak Bengali with my mother. That's the only person. She's the only person in the entire house who speaks Bengali
Okay, acha.
because
Okay,
we
so
stay
if
in
you.
Jharkhand. So our
Mhm.
language dominance is more of a Hindi. The
Acha, okay,
book
okay.
purpose it
Got it.
brings English. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
enlighten me though. I would love to know what exactly it is.
Yeah, I mean, if you have watched old Bengali movies, there are quite many, I mean, examples where this Kobial has been shown. So the main concept is like there is a debate between two groups or two individuals, and it's like in the normal debate, you are giving arguments, but in the format of poetry or in the format of, prose poems or in the format of songs. You'd see in Bengali movies, it's in the format of songs. It's instant poetry kind of a thing, instant composition. And again, you are debating, you are arguing, and that's so creative. It's tremendously creative. Like it really requires ample amount of skill to do that. And when I thought of doing that in our one, I mean, the first celebration space that we had, it I was very excited, and whoever I was approaching for participation, I mean, everyone was new with the concept. So finally Mahesh agreed, and he showed interest that he would dare to do that. Srikar agreed, and we had both of them face off each other, and it was amazing. Like, it was experimental for all of us. We did not know how it would go, actually, because I also myself had never tried. I had just seen in movies, and to go through some experience like this in live, it's completely different. So Mahesh and Srikar had a face off. It was very nice. So yeah.
That's interesting. I never have
Yeah.
seen such thing, but matlab, I'm visualizing right now and it sounds interesting.
Yes, yes, it is. There is still, I think the recording is still available, and I'm trying to. I was trying to actually find some ways to download the recorded spaces so that I can, have it to save and then share with people. Because the recorded spaces just get deleted after 1 month. So if you have it, then at least later on, if somebody wants to listen to, or at least that section of the audio, if somebody wants to listen to, we can. I feel like we have done so many spaces. A lot of the spaces are now nowhere, like it's deleted. So I miss, because we had really amazing spaces. All the 11 spaces that we had, each day it was better than the previous one, always, by God's grace, because of the participation of everybody coming in and going out. and we had so many people, right, Shrikar, coming in. And I mean, today it is 8:24. We are still waiting for people to join, but every day, I mean, there would be somebody coming in, adding value. If possible, they're rejoining, or I mean, they would be rejoining for a couple of days, maybe because they are busy, they would not join again. But we have around five, six people who are constants, like always there. Srikar.
Well, you
Yeah.
can, Sonali, I can assure you one thing. If
Hmm.
not, uh, if not getting stuck at work, I am going to be one of your constants too now from this day onwards.
Great. That's great. That's really great to know.
Sonali, I have one question for you actually.
Hmm.
So I can see that most of us in the space are copywriter or content writer. Uh, what's your profession?
My profile does say in the end that I am an IT professional. So I think since it is in the end, probably people do miss it out from my bio. I mean, others have also asked me about it. What are you by profession? So I am a software engineer working in IT for the past 10 years. So by profession, I'm IT professional.
Hey, sorry, I missed that last bio. Yeah.
No problem. I think I will anyway have to probably rewrite it. It seems something wrong. So that's why people miss. It's something has to do with my writing. So, Paras, do you want to speak? Because I have sent you the invite. If you have not got the invite, you can please send me the request. And I don't know, Srikar, if anybody would be joining anymore. I don't know. It's half an hour, yeah. Why nobody is joining now?
Okay, like we'll continue with the space. I'll continue it, and if someone joins, like we'll welcome them.
See, like what Paras and Parna think. Like nobody else is there. What is Sonali doing for the previous 11 spaces? She has been talking about, Srikar has been talking about so much. Okay, so let's start. I did not want that people should miss different sections that we have, but we can't help it because we are time bound. And anyway, we have to stick by the time. So we have, as usual, five sections. The new section that has been introduced in this second season of our spaces is the guest poet section. Okay, the first section would be the guest poems. Guest poems, by guest poems, I mean anybody in the space who are participating, be it as a listener or as a speaker, can share their poems on the topic or off the topic. No issues around that. So we have this section for 30 minutes. And after that, we have the poem of the day section. Poem of the day section means we will, I mean, have a particular poem that I have chosen. I would read that poem out, I'll recite that poem, and then illustrate, then explain the poem, and then we'll have a discussion around that poem. Third section, the most interesting section, that is why I have kept it in the third, I mean, sequentially. There's the guest poet. So we have Mahesh with us as the guest tonight. So we have again 30 minutes for that slot for that section. And the fourth section is quiz on the poem of the day. So we have quiz as well on poetry. So we will have five questions for 10 minutes. It will be, I mean, it will take around 10 minutes to complete those five questions. And it will be somewhat related to the poem of the day. And the fifth section is tell us more. Tell us more, like we will be sharing each other's, I mean, whatever we think about the space or whatever we want to share about each other. So we are here to listen to, and whatever they, whatever thoughts they have had during the space and all, we would like to listen to. So these are the five sections we are having. Shagun, welcome. Harsh, welcome. So Shagun, you have the mic. Uh,
Hi, how are you all doing?
Going on by God's grace, Shagun. I was like waiting so much that it's almost 8:30. Where are the guys? Yes. So how are you doing?
I'm great. I'm great. It's just like a day was little hectic due to one medical emergency, and
Oh,
and another one was my husband is at home today since it's a Saturday. We are not going anywhere. So yeah, like
okay.
previous 2 weekends, it was with my father because my father has come to India. So that was the thing.
Okay.
And now since he's returning back, so we're just helping him since he's alone. I told you last time, right? So yeah, so here I
Mm-hmm.
am. I just saw your message, so I immediately thought of joining it. Otherwise, I would have been late in listening to the recording, right? So yeah, so that is why.
Great, great. Thank you so
Yeah,
much. I mean, despite your busy schedule that you have uh, considered joining, that's really great. I really appreciate that, Shagun. And
thank
you
you, thank
really
you,
bring in a different energy every time you come in.
thank you.
Thank you so much. And Arsh, welcome. I saw you last time in our space, I think, or in Shrikar's space. I saw Harsh. Shrikar, do you remember? I remember him, but I forgot in which space we had him.
I don't know. Like I don't remember. Like I was
Okay.
hosting, right? So I was busy in doing all that stuff.
Yes, yes. You know, when you are hosting, you will have to look at the laptop, you will have to look at the mobile screen, you'll have to also look at the notebook you have taken down some notes on. So it's a round robin kind of a thing.
Yeah,
Yes, Harsh, you have
exactly.
the mic. Yeah. Hi, Harsh.
Hello, am I audible?
Yep. Yes, you are audible now.
Sorry, I lost network track. So actually, I figured
No
out
issues. Hmm.
from like there's space button in the Twitter feed, right? So over there, I found you there. I guess you were hosting some
Okay.
space on poetry. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, right, right. Thank you, Harsh. I mean, I see in your bio as well that you are a poet, and after you followed me, I made it sure that I sent you the invite. So nice to have you. So yeah, I think we will start now. It's 8:32. So the first section is guest poems, and as we can see in the poster, that we have the topic of the day is God. Okay, so God is, by God's grace, a very hot topic. I think has always been since a time immemorial. So God is there or God is not there. What is God? Who is God? Has anybody ever seen God or not? Touched God or not, heard God or not, so many questions. And we, all of us, feel God, see God, hear God in all different ways. We define God in different ways, and we even challenge his existence so much since time immemorial. So I I know, I mean, it has to be either a famous topic or a very infamous topic. So I would first like to have a poem from Srikar on this topic, and then we can have some discussions around all our thoughts around God. So, Srikar, over to you.
Okay, so Nani, like I am kind of a person who neither believes in or who neither believes that God exists or doesn't exist. I'm kind of an agnostic. So like for me, I don't care if God exists or not, because like I kind of believe that like my work, my actions have some consequences, and my like if I want something, I have to work for it and I'll get it for that. And if I do experience any pain or any grief, then I have people around me, like I have people around me to go and there are people to console me. I have people to talk with. Or else, if at all there aren't anyone, then I would go to a therapist. And the other point is that any person who has gone through a problem or issue, like that person either helped himself or got help from other person. So like it's never that some supernatural force came and helped him directly. So some people say that the person who the victim is a embodiment of God and all that, but I don't know. I don't believe in that stuff. Like I neither believe that God exists nor it doesn't nor it doesn't exist. So that's my way. Like that's my way. I'm an agnostic. So I would like to hear about others as well. Like are you an atheist, agnostic, or?
Yeah, before we move forward, Srikar, I would request you to, will you be able to share the poems that we are going to talk about, the screenshots that I have sent you, and share in this space so that everybody has a visual.
Yeah, sure. I'll share them. You please continue the discussion. I'll share them.
Yeah, yeah, we will hear from all of us briefly what everybody feel about God. I mean, and then we can start on the poems. So, who would like to go first? Anybody would like to share the thoughts on this topic? Okay, Parna. Yes, please go ahead, Parna.
So, when I think of God, my notion and my thought process have changed a lot from past 10 years. Prior to that, I was somewhat as well. I was not a very ardent follower of God. I'm still not. I won't say that I'm like a param bhakt type of person. I currently what I feel about is I do not preach or pray to any kind of a figurine. That's what my notion is. I'm mostly a nature devotee, a universe devotee. I'm mostly connected to karma and the energy fire flame, which we call Shakti, the embodiment of Shakti. Uh, that is what I like to portray whenever I talk about God. And I honestly have believed one thing which has never changed throughout these years is what you do, you will get that back in return. Be it good, be it bad. That's your karma. You just have to do your karma some way or the other. If your deeds are good, you will reap good results. If your deeds are not good, if you're doing things which are against nature, against the universe, or against humanity in general, the things will ripple off 10 times and come back to you in this lifetime it is well. Because I have never believed in the notion that we live for more than 7 lives and stuff. I believe that if we are doing something wrong, we are doing something right, all the balanced will come back to us within this life as well. And I'm a really from the past 5 6 years I've been meditating quite a lot. So my notion for karma and everything is getting refined with each passing day. And I honestly feel this way. And I am a ardent follower of nirvana too. So if there is any god, I always ask the nature or the universe to give me nirvana, because that's what is my ultimate goal for now. I think I made some sense, didn't I? Please do tell me that.
Yes, yes, you need not feel at all like if you're making sense or not. Like always your points are your points, your experiences are your experiences. So it's never like anybody would give that validation. But yes, we sometime have a difference of opinions. We would sometime have this, same opinion. So a lot of times when you were speaking, I was able to relate. A lot of times I could see that how I feel about God is a little different from how you feel about it. So it's absolutely, I mean, nothing, there's nothing kind of a right answer or wrong answer. It's just like always, the way you see your journey, the way you have your journey. So it's amazing, I mean, whatever you shared. And I loved the evolution that you were speaking about, the past 10 years, that you have started seeing it in a different way, the entire concept. And I hope your idea about God keeps evolving all through the entire life. I would love to hear from other speakers also, if anybody is willing to share. Yes, Harsh, please go ahead.
I think Shagun also raised. You can go ahead, Shagun, if you want.
Okay, if Harsh wants to speak, I'll speak later. It's no problem.
Okay. So back in 2017, I discovered this meditation thing. Like I was not a firm believer because I had not experienced it. You're not experienced things, so I cannot say that it works or not. So I was a very ardent kid who had this experience of life that most things work, but most things don't work. It's kind of skeptical to say, to put it into words, but I discovered this facade of life, and then I thought, let's give a try to meditation. Like maybe it sounds too good to be true. It actually was. Then I joined the camp, and then we had a 7-day meditation camp, and then the experience was really rejoicing. Like I had not experienced anything like that before. So I thought maybe let's give it some more time. So I did this for continuously 3 months, and then did some advanced meditation courses, and then went to the ashram itself, and then was back and forth doing this and that. So I was experiencing some those moments of life which I was actually searching for. Okay, this is life. So in that life, I lost this sense for mm, material education and believe in the worldly things, which my family was very worried about. So I started growing my hair. I was very like motivated by the gurus and stuff. So I thought maybe this is the way. So I thought let's just grow a hair. I'll be more wise. I started reading more spiritual books. I thought I'll be more spiritual if I'll read, or be more wise if I read all those books. So I started following on that journey, and I was mostly into this detachment phase. Like I have to renounce all the worldly joys and detach myself from everything to know God. So I entered that phase then, and I would shun everything off. I shoo people away. Like I have this different purpose in life, different goals in life. So because of that, I've had personal bitter experiences in life. Like I have had close friends, I've close people, but eventually they went away because of my foolish behavior. At the end, I didn't achieve anything, but what I figured was this is not the way. There's a way to look at those things. So now when I look back, so it's a journey, and it's a continuous journey. It's a continuous learning. So I'm more into meditation and divine experiences and spirituality. But now I'm more open to life as well. There's no one way to it. If I'll have to renounce, I don't have to shoo people away. If I'm going into divinity, I don't have to renounce the worldly joys or the pleasures. It's not like I should be dependent on it, but I should be the one who should command that thing in my life. I should be having the command over my phone rather than my phone having a command on me. So I'm just in a learning phase right now. So every person has a different definition of a god. A dog in his mind believes that there's a dog god somewhere. A tortoise believes there's a tortoise god. So we as a human believe that the god is a human. So everyone can have different perceptions, and it's totally like correct to go follow whatever gives you joy. So I'm just figuring my life right now. Yeah, thank you.
Wow, Harsh. I mean, I'm swept off actually. I mean, it was so amazing to listen to your journey, the curve that you had. I mean, it's amazing. And the best part, what I felt is when you said that I'm more open to life now, and there is no one way to it. You know, this is kind of the gist of everything. Uh, I usually probably if somebody asks me to the point question that what is your favorite topic of discussion, I can say without any doubt that since childhood, God has been my most favorite topic. And amazingly, I mean, interestingly, of course, I didn't have friends who would discuss God with me, you know. God has never been the favorite topic of my friends ever. I mean, so, but when I like you, who had queries and, you know, I mean, I fall short of words because there are too many words are right now crossing my mind. So anyway, I don't want to take away the moments. Mahesh, you had raised. Please go ahead.
Uh, okay, let Atul speak first. I'll speak later.
Okay. Atul, welcome to our space. I see you first time in the space, and I see in your bio that you are a poet. Please feel
Yeah,
free.
yeah. Hi, thanks, Sonali. Yeah, how are you doing, everyone? So yeah, I listened to Harsh like I like went like came into the middle of it. So yeah, I like the idea he like gave the gist of it. That nothing like in my words, like I would say that nothing is binary. There is things between zero and like there is a gray also. Yeah, it's good. Like he's experiencing that gray right now. It also felt like that Jay Shetty thing also. Like he also went into that phase, but now he's all sharing his journey. Yeah, that's right now. That's it. And about God, right? So yeah, like God is now. I won't say that it's my favorite topic. So like so like I have also done a lot of conversations with like people regarding God and His existence, and like I used to do it like a lot of time with my mother also, which like she follows God, like she believes in God and godly stuff so much. So yeah, that's that.
Great, great. Thank you so much, Adu, for sharing your thoughts. And it makes me, I'm smiling continuously. If it were a video a space, you would have seen me smiling so much. I just don't know because probably because of the magic of the topic or the way all of you are contributing. I mean, I find it so interesting that none of whatever you are all speaking, they're all almost quite much different yet so similar. And again, they are also right. I mean, lovely. Mahesh, over to you.
Okay, so about God, so I don't believe in the what we can say the popular notion of God, but I do believe that there are things in universe that are beyond the human understanding, or should I say, current human understanding. And so there is something beyond our understanding that I totally agree, but in the concept of God, as everyone says, uh, now I can see that everyone in the space is uh, talking about karma, or should I say, actions and consequences, and meditation or things like that. I don't see any connection between God and those things. Uh, and I can say I can go on and on the of uh, meditation, psychedelics, and their connection with religion, how the people portray or conceive. But that's the topic for another space, I guess.
Lovely. Thank you. Thank you for your thoughts, Mahesh. And it's as I said in the very opening, that it has been an eternal journey of human mind over the question if God exists or not. So, you know, even to uh, think about him or to love God, first and foremost thing becomes the God versus matlab, God existence or inexistence. So that is always there. And yes, Shagun, I saw you raised your hand. Please go ahead. And
Yes.
meanwhile, I'd just like to invite Bhairav. Bhairav, I'm so happy to see you after such a long time. And you can see the topic, poetry and God. So you had to be there. And I'm really hoping that you would speak today. I have sent you the invite. So please do take on the mic. Shagun, over to you.
Yeah, first of all, yeah, I heard everyone's perspective of God. Like, it's first of all, I seriously, you have taken it in a very, very nice way today that you chose this topic. Uh, my perspective is like, I believe that yes, there is also, there is people do like how Parna said that from past 10 years her perspective of things have changed a lot. So for me also, like it's very relatable when she said that yeah, there are energies, there are deeds which are maybe covering up, or we say that somewhere some karmas are there. Yes, I do also believe, but I also believe that in this entire universe, if we are entitled to be born, or our energies are guiding us towards something, and there is a purpose, there is a reason why we are here on this planet. And second thing, everything, as per my observation, as per my this uh, kind of experience, I can say that way, that everything is just planned, and we are just, we are just going accordingly, like, in terms of careers, maybe in terms of our thoughts, writings, or maybe in our behavior, and everywhere. And I've been like, I also believe in that way, that each and every person whom we meet, like, has a purpose in our life. Like, even we are sitting together enjoying this space and talking about so many things, it does has some purpose. That's why we are here. That's it.
Shagun, I love you so much. That was really amazing. I mean, I don't know if I'll be. I mean, you just said that I heard about everybody's perspective and all. Shagun, you still waiting for my perspective. Okay. So when I speak, I don't know when I'll end it, or even will I be able to give my perspective in the end. I just don't know. I'm super excited today. I'm just super excited. So thank you so much for whatever you spoke, and I can't agree more. I see a request. Okay, Atul. Okay. Hmm. So now I think um, before I start speaking, we can hear the poem that Srikar is waiting to share. We already have the Srikar. You didn't post your poem.
Okay, I'll post it. Like you read out these poems, I'll post it in the meanwhile. And moreover, like
Okay.
I don't have any poems on God. I have other poems. I haven't written any poem on God.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Oh,
like
unfortunate God. God is really unfortunate.
Yeah.
maybe.
Okay. So, yeah, Atul, you want to say something? Please go ahead.
So, like regarding the point, like existence of God. So, like the talk was going on, like some energy exists. Mahesh also told that. So, like I believe something does exist, but it is so grandeur, and like it is like if something so godly, then it shouldn't like be in the way that anything we do, or like it should be insignificant for it. So that's what I believe in that point. Like the way we treat things to be godly, it shouldn't be in that way. I mean, my this is my perception only. And one more thing, that like when I wrote my first poetry, like it was on God only. So that's a ironic part. Like I wrote my first poetry on God, and I don't believe on him.
Amazing. Can you share that poem with us?
Like
Can you share?
uh, like it was in my first standard that I wrote. I just remember that I wrote it. Like I know, like I remember only the few lines. So it was like, "Oh God, you are the one who is the father of everyone. Oh God, you are so great. You made this world. We love you." So like only this much line I remember, but it was something kind of like that. So that's
Such a
ironic.
sweet poem. Such a sweet poem. Can you please find out where you had written it? I mean, I think that would give you some memories back again, I think.
Like I just submitted it. Like I wrote it in my first standard because uh, it was for some like college, no, like school magazine. So there were two choices, like either you create an art or like write something like poetry. So that time I wrote this poetry. So yeah, but yeah, this like I don't have it now. It's too long since that time. Years has passed. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay, but whatever lines you remember, please jot it down somewhere so
Yeah.
that again after many years you you can revisit it.
Yeah, yeah,
So
thanks.
it did have some touch of innocence in that poem, so it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, Harsh, you can speak, please.
Uh, is anyone interested in listening up to a poem which Mirabai wrote about God?
Please go ahead anytime.
Okay. So this is a translation. The original text was in not in Hindi. It was UP mein there's Maithili, I think Maithili is spoken there. So it's kind of that league. So this is an English translation by Yoganand Paramahansa. So he translated it like, if by bathing daily God could be realized, sooner would I be a whale in the deep. If by eating roots and fruits he could be known, gladly I would choose to the form of a goat. If the calm of rosaries uncovered him, I would say my prayers on mammoth of beads. If bowing before stone images unveiled him, a flinty mountain I would humbly worship. If by drinking milk the Lord could be imbibed, many calves and children would know him. If by abandoning one's wife could summon God, would not thousands be eunuchs? Mirabai knows that to find the divine one, the only indispensable is love. Mostly I read it in a singular tone. It should have been more funny, but yeah.
No,
It
no,
was a
no. I
great
mean,
version.
yeah, we got it entirely. Thank you so much for sharing this one. I think recently I saw it somewhere in the Twitter as well. Did you share the translation anytime, Harsh?
Yes, I tweeted about it.
Yeah, that is when I saw it. Yeah. Yes. Oh, it's coming down from Mirabai. You chose Mirabai's poem on God, the one of the biggest devotees of all times, and how she would explain what's love about God. I mean, who can come to argue with her? But yes, it's absolutely so. What I would like to add to it is whatever we do in life across any field, good or bad, uh, in the end, if it doesn't inculcate love, then it doesn't make any sense. So um, that is what is also speaking about in this poem, that if it is not for the love of the God, then whatever actions you take in whatever form, like even if the scientist is doing his science and writing his theories, if he doesn't have the love in his heart, then it doesn't make any sense. Yes, Mahesh, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Harsh, for sharing such a lovely poem. Uh, could you please send that to Sonali so that she can pin this in chat space so whoever new joins can go through that beautiful piece of writing. Thank you.
Yes, Harsh, you can send this to Srikar. Srikar is having this option to
Actually,
add to the
Sonali, like
space.
I think I think
I did
Harsh
it.
can
Everybody
also
should
do
be able.
that.
Yeah. Harsh, if you have that option, then please go ahead.
Yeah, I've pinned it.
Okay. I I unfortunately do not have this option. I don't know why, but yes, good. Thank you. So, Shrikar, should we listen to your poem now, or you want me to go first?
I have a I mean, I don't have any poems on God. Like I have other poems. If you people would like to listen, then I can recite it out.
Please go ahead. No issues at all. Any other poems also?
Okay, just give me a second. I'll pin it up, and so that you people can read it. I mean, go through it. Just give me a
Okay.
second.
Yeah, sure. Welcome, Gaurav. Welcome, Bhairav, to the speaker section. Atul, did you raise your hand or was it raised earlier?
Yeah, I raised it.
Okay, please.
So like this is a poets group. So like what one of my ability is, like if you give me five random words, like most of you can do it, but like this is what I love to do. Like if you give me five random words, I'll turn them into poetry. So you can do that like after this space. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay,
like
we will
this is what
submit our words to you. Okay,
yeah.
after we have this section. That's interesting.
Okay, yeah. Like
Nice.
yeah, thanks.
Now, Sonali, I have pinned it up. Like I guess you people can see it.
Mm, yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
okay, I'll recite it. So the title of the poem is "My Love for My Dreams." Here it goes. Sailor I am, sailing the sea of life, with hope as my ship, heading towards the sands I dream. As I sail, overwhelming winds, echoing unsolicited advice, trying to daunt and drift me away, yet the courage compass I carry always points in the direction of my dreams. The criticism currents often flow against my way, trying to crumble my confidence, yet no tide could give a fight to my sheer will powered engine. The convention icebergs block my path, trying to wreck my ship of hope, yet my ship isn't a Titanic and breaks the convention, clearing my path. My destiny is still miles away, and I have to sail a long way with many other obstacles on my way, yet my love for my dreams outweigh every obstacle on the way. Thank you. That's it.
Wow, that's a really nice poem. My love for my dreams.
Thank you, Sonali. Thank you.
When did you write it? Even any date? I don't see that date in the poster.
Like I have written it like when I decided to pursue freelance content writing as full-time career. So that was the point I have written this.
Okay. Okay. Great. Very nice. Very nicely written. Anybody would like to share anything about the poem? How they felt? Harsh, yes, please go ahead.
Hey Shika, that was a lovely poem. And but I have no. Sorry, you can go. I have no writings on God, but I do write on love. So if that is permissible to speak about, I can share something.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Everything permitted. Yeah.
Okay. So I wrote this last year when I had some really great heartbreak. So it goes on like. Also, I write in Hindi, so I can I like. Is everyone here?
Yes, any
Okay.
language. Any language. Hmm.
Okay. Okay. So it's in Hindi. आज बताता हूँ एक राज की बात तुम्हें आज बताता हूँ एक राज की बात तुम्हें जिसके कारण जिंदगी में कितने ही गम सहे तो बात यह है कि मैं देर कर देता हूँ देर देता हूँ प्यार जताने में कर देता हूँ देर अपनों को ही अपना बताने में मैं देर कर देता हूँ हक जताने में कर देता हूँ देर अपना गम बताने में तुम शाम में जुगनू सी चमकती हो, तुम शाम में जुगनू सी चमकती हो, मैं भंवरे सा भटकता देर कर देता हूँ पास आने में। दिल की बात बताने में, साथ तेरे खो जाने में, मैं अक्सर देर कर देता हूँ।
Oh my God, if you write this to somebody जिसके साथ तुम देर करते हो, I don't think that person should be or can be ever offended. So that was an amazing piece, amazing one. Really loved it, Harsh. Yes, Atul.
Yeah, I also have a poetry to share. Uh,
Please go ahead. Yeah.
so ये poetry मतलब once I used to like have a writers community like in my college times. So at that time like I wrote it like while like छत पे टहलते समय. So तो पोइट्री का टाइटल कुछ ऐसा है कि वक्त बदलते देखा है. सो आई स्टार्ट. चांद को अमावस से पूर्णिमा का होते देखा है. चांद को अमावस से पूर्णिमा का होते देखा है. उन पेड़ों से जो कभी छिप जाता था नज़ारा, उन पेड़ों को आज कटते देखा है. वो ज़मीन जहाँ कभी खेत हुआ करते थे, वो ज़मीन जहाँ कभी खेत हुआ करते थे, फसल कटने पे जिसकी हम वहाँ क्रिकेट खेला करते थे, उस ज़मीन पर मैंने आज एक घर बनते देखा है. मैंने वक्त बदलते देखा है. मैंने वक्त बदलते देखा है. उस वक्त जब इन्वर्टर नहीं था, तो जब बहुत पहले की बात है जब हर घर में इन्वर्टर नहीं हुआ करता था, तो उस वक्त जब इन्वर्टर नहीं हुआ करता था, अंधेरे में जलती उन मोमबत्तियों को मैंने आज बस अक्सर जन्मदिन पर जलते देखा है. था जब मम्मी के पास फ़ोन तो था, पर उन्हें उससे कॉल लगाना नहीं आता था. और आज मेरी मदद के बिना भी मैंने मम्मी के फ़ोन से पापा को कॉल लगते देखा है. मैंने वक्त बदलते देखा है. मैंने वक्त बदलते देखा है. वो छत पर देर तक टहल के वो छत पर देर तक टहल के उस पड़ोस वाली मोहब्बत को देखने के इंतज़ार को मैंने स्टेटस के सीन और मैसेजेस के डबल टिक्स में बदलते देखा है. मैंने सख्त लौंडों को यूं आसानी से पिघलते देखा है. मैंने वक्त बदलते देखा है. मैंने वक्त बदलते देखा है. वो साइकिल के शौक को बाइक और स्कूटी में वो साइकिल के शौक को बाइक और स्कूटी में, घड़ी को स्मार्ट वॉच में ढलते देखा है. वो दोस्तों को अनजानों सी और अनजानों को दोस्तों सी, वो अमीर को लालच भरी और गरीब को दान करने की बातें करते देखा है. मैंने वक्त बदलते देखा है. मैंने एक वक्त बदलते देखा. तो क्या करनी है, थोड़ी लंबी है.
हाँ हाँ, please continue.
ठीक है. तो मैंने एक छोटी सी शुरुआत को कुछ खास बनते देखा है. मैंने एक छोटी सी शुरुआत को कुछ खास बनते देखा है. बूंद से सागर बनने की बात को बरसात बनते देखा है. मैंने एक टूटे हुए कल को बेहतर आज बनते देखा. मैंने वक्त बदलते देखा है. मैंने वक्त बदलते देखा है. तो इस पोइट्री में मतलब हर तरह का टोन है. स्ट्रगल से इस तरह से सक्सेस की तरफ, और लव स्टोरी का भी थोड़ा सा एंगल है. तो वो साथ चलने के वादों को वो साथ चलने के वादों को अकेले चलकर देखा है. जैसे याद कर उसकी यादों को मरते देखा है. मैंने खुद को भी बदलते देखा है. मैंने वक्त बदलते देखा है. और 2020 ही अलग थी. इसमें क्या क्या नहीं देखा है. वायरस से वैक्सीन का सफ़र, दूरियां ज्यादा नज़दीकियों की फिक्र, चाइना से लड़ाई, वर्ल्ड वॉर 3 का रूमर, पबजी हुआ बैन, सोनो चिकन डिनर. दिल्ली में भी हुई थी एयर पॉल्यूशन से क्लियर, जूम मीटिंग और क्लासेस में योर वॉइस इज नॉट क्लियर, और किसी तरह पहुंच गए इन द न्यू ईयर. सो मैंने सच में वक्त बदलते देखा है. जिंदगी का एक प्रस्ताव है. जिंदगी का एक प्रस्ताव है. इसमें हर वक्त एक बदलाव है. कोई जी रहा है हकीकत में, तो कोई देख रहा बस ख्वाब है. मैंने कल के देखे ख्वाब को आज हकीकत में बदलते देखा है. मैंने वक्त बदलते देखा है. मैंने वक्त बदलते देखा है. थैंक यू फॉर बीइंग सच अ नाइस लिसनर.
Wow, like I mean, I want to thank myself, you know. I want to thank myself for hosting such spaces that out of nowhere, out of no connection, we are connecting and we are able to listen to such amazing poets, such amazing poems. I'm just blown away, Atul. Very, very neatly done, very well done. And in fact, all the spheres that you have touched upon,
Yeah.
Atul, there is a little noise, I think, in your background. Yeah, so I was trying to say the all the spheres that you had tried to touch upon from past till absolute present, and the way you recited, the way you narrated in between too, the storytelling, the poetry telling, I would say, it was really very, very nicely done. And there was depth, there was fun, there was a lot of elements there. So it was, I mean, I'm really liking your poetry. So hope that you keep coming back. It's not a one-time thing. We host spaces every Saturday. Hope to listen to your poems very regularly.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Yeah, actually, I used to attend open mics, so that's why.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
but
felt
yeah,
that
I'll keep coming.
poetry clubs, you had that you had that in you. Yes, Mahesh, please go ahead.
Uh, First of all, good job, Atul. Uh, Srika's poem reminded me of one of my own, which is called Me and Cosmos. So you can say that it's somehow spiritual. So I'll recite that. I'm but a speck of dust, an imperfect child of universe, gliding with the wind, but in my mind I'm on the adventure, to some place unseen, to some place unattainable. My life is a mystery, searching for a place it belongs to achieve mastery. In this journey, life unfolds an irony. When I sit here in solitude, reciting that I don't care, as I scroll through the old memories, wondering, will I ever be over this, and when? There's something in this loneliness, those quiet moments. They hold you, that's all they do, until the fear subside, until the tears dry, and you start to believe that at that moment nothing can hurt you. There I found a solution. Maybe all I need is to share some load. The lighter, the faster, dumping the baggage to keep step closer. If I could, I would have already living a life that I did not plan, a tragedy. It's impossible to explain, but I'll get over everything in just a few years. I will survive every whirlwind of emotions. I'll cross every river of fears. Some might say I changed, but now there is no turning back. There are no more white flags when my self-respect is under attack. In pleasing others and following their orders, I made myself a failure, and that's a blame on me, not them. It's my sheep, I'm the sailor, learning from mistakes, leaving the knife me in hers. I'm now marching forward to create my own universe. Thank you.
Great, Mahesh. I mean, very passionate kind of a poem that I felt when you were reading it, and it echoed the thing that you already spoke about when you were talking about God. So I could sense that part of your your thoughts in this poem as well. So it was a really nice one. Thank you so much for sharing. I think if you have it in Twitter, then you can share it in the space as well so that anybody can look at it as well.
No, it's not on Twitter, it's just on my blog for now.
Okay.
And
So
I think
anybody would
it's
like to
the
say
probably
anything to
only
Mahesh?
poem I
Hmm.
have. So probably it's the only poem I have written something on these lines, and there is one unfinished poem with the word God, or that's it. My relation with God and poetry.
Okay. Okay. No worries at all. I mean, uh, we God is, of course, I mean, it's the topic of the day, but we can always listen to other poems we're listening to anyway. And yes, Bhairav, you want please go ahead.
Um, Hello, Didi. Hello, Srikar Anna.
Hi,
Uh,
welcome back.
and everyone else is new here. So, दीदी मैं सोच रहा था कि मैं मेरे पास पोएम तो है नहीं, एक स्टोरी है, तो स्टोरी सुनना चाहेंगे क्या? छोटा सा स्टोरी है गॉड के
स्टोरी
ऊपर।
मतलब गॉड के ऊपर बिल्कुल बिल्कुल। एंड बिफोर यू स्टार्ट, मैं आपसे रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा भैरव कि यू शेयर your journey about God briefly so that everybody has an idea about where you are coming from, because I know probably ये बहुत अच्छा रहेगा, and since they do not know you, so थोड़ा it will be good if you
ओके
can.
ओके। हेलो एवरीवन। तो मैं ऐसा था कि मतलब बचपन में जैसे मतलब मुझे कहीं पे भी थोड़ा बहुत मतलब परेशानी दिखाई देता था, या फिर कहीं पे ब्रूटालिटी कुछ तरह का वायलेंस दिखाई देता था। तो मैं सोच रहा था कि मतलब अगर भगवान है, सभी बोलते थे कि भगवान है भगवान है। तो मैं सोचता था कि भगवान है तो फिर वो क्यों नीचे आके क्यों ये सब सॉल्व नहीं कर लेता, ये दुनिया तो उसका है, सब पावर तो उसका है। तो व्हाट हैपेंड कि मतलब देयर वाज नो रिप्लाई, और किसी को पता भी नहीं था कि भगवान कौन है, सब बोलते थे कि ये है वो है। तो आई स्टॉप बिलीविंग इन गॉड एक्चुअली, कोई रिप्लाई भी नहीं दे पाए। तो उसमें मैं फिर साइंस की तरफ देखने लगा। तो मुझे गॉड के ऊपर थोड़ा भी बिलीव नहीं था। तो धीरे धीरे मतलब साइंस के थ्रू समझने की कोशिश किया। तो ऐसे ही मैंने फिर साइंस के थ्रू ढूंढते ढूंढते फिर मैंने बीटेक और बीटेक डिग्री तक कंप्लीट किया। फिर कुछ क्राइसिस आए, इमोशनल क्राइसिस आए, जैसे कि रिलेशनशिप में। तो फिर उसके बाद सब कुछ बेकार सा लगने लगा। फिर ऐसा हुआ कि एक दिन मतलब धीरे धीरे कैसे क्लिक किया पता नहीं, तो मुझे गॉड की तरफ मतलब क्या, गॉड का जो कैसे है क्या है थोड़ा बहुत धीरे धीरे समझ में आने लगा। तो फिर मैं स्पिरिचुअलिटी की तरफ बढ़ने लगा। तो ऐसा नहीं है कि मतलब गॉड कहाँ है कहाँ नहीं है, ये साइंस हमको बता सकता है, क्योंकि मैंने साइंस में आई एम ए ग्रेजुएट फ्रॉम आईआईटी खड़गपुर। तो मैंने साइंस में काफ़ी सारा मैंने रिसर्च भी किया। और जैसे यूनिवर्स, साइंस में सब कुछ लोग मतलब इंटेलेक्ट से जानना चाहते हैं। तो इंटेलेक्ट एक डायमेंशन है, मतलब जो कि थॉट प्रोसेस है, एनालाइज करना, सब कुछ करना। पर जो गॉड वाला जो डायमेंशन है उसको मतलब हम इंटेलेक्ट से या फिर थॉट से नहीं जान सकते। तो उसके उसको फील करने के लिए और एक डायमेंशन होता है हार्ट का, तो जिसको हम लव जैसा, जिसको लव कहते हैं। और मैं ये भी सर्च कर रहा था, मुझे मतलब सब कुछ एक्सपीरियंस करना था कि लव क्या होता है। दूसरे लोग गर्लफ्रेंड बना लिए, दूसरे हर चीज कर लिए। तो मैं सोचता था कि ये लव वाला फीलिंग क्या होता है, और उस लव को भी सर्च किया, ट्रू लव। तो बाद में पता चला कि ऐसा कुछ होता नहीं है। सब अपने मतलब प्लेजर के लिए और दिखावा के लिए ये सब करते हैं। ऐसा ट्रू लव करके कुछ है नहीं। पर जैसे मुझे धीरे धीरे पता चला कि ट्रू लव हमारा मतलब जिसको हम गॉड बोलते हैं ना, वो उसको अगर हम जान जाएंगे तो हमें लगेगा कि वो हमें हमें हमेशा प्यार करते हैं। मतलब उनका और हमारा जो लव है ना, वो ट्रू लव है। क्योंकि जो एग्जिस्टेंस है, हम गॉड का थॉट इसलिए आता है ना, जब भी हम बचपन में देखते हैं कि इतना बड़ा एग्जिस्टेंस है तो इसको बनाने वाला कोई तो होगा ना। तो इसीलिए हम गॉड कोई बोलते हैं कि जो क्रिएटर है वो गॉड है। तो उसी के ऊपर मैं अब एक स्टोरी बोलूंगा, स्टोरी के बाद आप फिर कह सकते हैं। तो मैं गॉड के एग्जिस्टेंस के लिए ये बोलूंगा कि जो क्रिएशन है उसी के बेसिस पे हम गॉड गॉड का कॉन्सेप्ट आया। पर गॉड जो है वो मतलब अगर कोई गॉड है तो वो हर जगह पे है, वो हमारे अंदर भी है, आपके अंदर भी है, हवा में भी है, हर जगह है। तो उसको फील करने के लिए उसको हम इंटेलेक्ट से नहीं जान सकते हैं, उसको फील किया जा सकता है, जो कि लोग मेडिटेशन में भी करते हैं। और जैसे मीराबाई का वो मतलब डिवोशन एक ऐसा चीज है जिस मैं ये रियलाइज किया कि डिवोशन क्या करता है ना, जैसे लव भी, जैसे आप लव करते हैं किसी के पास, मतलब किसी के अंडर फॉल कर जाते हैं, इसलिए वही हम कहते हैं कि वी फॉल इन लव, मतलब हमारा कुछ पार्ट दे देते हैं। डिवोशन जो है वो अल्टीमेट लव है, मतलब हम अपना सब कुछ मतलब उसके लिए दे दिया। जैसे मीराबाई का, मीरा अपना कृष्ण के लव में सब कुछ दे दिया, उसको हम बोलेंगे ट्रू लव। तो डिवोशन इज द डिवोशन इज एक्चुअली ट्रू लव। जिसको मीरा ने एक्सपीरियंस किए थे। तो उसी के ऊपर एक स्टोरी है, अगर आप सुनना चाहेंगे तो थोड़ा छोटा सा है। तो स्टोरी ऐसा है कि उसका टाइटल है ईश्वर की मृत्यु। तो एक बार एक आदमी पहाड़ से नीचे आकर मंदिर, मस्जिद और पेड़ों के पीछे किसी को ढूंढने ढूंढने लगा। दिन हाथ में एक लालटेन पकड़ा था। देखते देखते वहां भीड़ इकट्ठी हो गई। लोग उस पागल आदमी को देखने पहुंच गए। सोचे कि ये कौन दिन में भी लालटेन पकड़ के किसी को ढूंढ रहा है। तो उस पागल आदमी को देखने सब लोग पहुंच गए। तो भीड़ में से एक ने पूछा, अरे क्या ढूंढ रहे हो? आदमी ने बोला, ईश्वर को ढूंढ रहा हूँ। भीड़ पूछा, ईश्वर मिली क्या? आदमी बोला, नहीं, तुम लोगों ने उसे मार दिया है। भीड़ पूछा, हमने उसे क्यों मारा है? आदमी बोला, वो तुमको रोज देख रहा था, हर क्षण देख रहा था। तुम्हारे कर्म के रूप में लोभ, मोह और घृणा, नफरत भी वो देख रहा था। सो तुमने उसे अपने हृदय से मारकर अपने अपने पाप कर्म करने लगे, और बाकी जो न कर ना सके उसे मंदिर, मस्जिद में मुर्दा बना के टांग दिया। बाहर लोभ मोह के कर्म करने के बाद उसे 2 कौड़ी का प्रसाद देकर अपने पाप से मुक्ति होने का ढोंग करने लगे। तुम सब जाओ, तुमने तो खुद अपने अंदर के ईश्वर को मार दिया। तुम्हारे कर्म का फल तुम्हें अवश्य मिलेगा। तो मेरा स्टोरी इतना तक था। तो बस मैं उतना कहना चाहूंगा।
Bhairav, I have always been very honest by God's grace in the spaces whenever I have shared anything. And I would like to say that, uh, all the while I was so smiling whenever everybody was sharing anything. But when you were speaking, I was in tears. Thank you for that moment. Okay, after
Thank you.
that, I would like to just ask, is this the story that you were addressing as a story? I feel like this is not a story. It can rather be said that it is a poem in a structure of a prose. So, uh, is this written by you or somebody else?
No, no, it is not written by me. Actually, it was. I heard it from Oso. Actually, I listened to him sometimes. So
Okay,
he
okay.
told it in a more beautiful way.
No, you also said it in a very beautiful way, and everything was very logically placed. And I mean, I was completely resonating with you. Thank you for sharing. Before I want to get into this very soon because we are now at 9:23. We have other four sections yet to cover. So I won't delay much. If anybody wants to say anything to whatever Bhairav just shared, please go ahead. Okay, complete silence.
Yeah, it was good. Like analogy was also good. Loved it. Yeah. Thanks for sharing.
Okay, thank you, Mahesh. Parna, Srikar, Atul, if you want to add anything, say anything to Bhairav, feel free to unmute or
Actually, I'm not good at Hindi, so I couldn't comprehend it completely. Like, if at all it was in English, I would have said proper view about it. So that's why I'm being silent.
Oh, you must a great poem by me.
in
Sorry.
fact, Srikar, I thought you know a little bit. I was that is why I didn't insist also for translation or for explaining anybody because everybody else is also today. Everybody is Kitivas or Anna. They do not know English, Hindi at all. So had they been in the space, I would have requested everyone to give a little bit of translation. But I thought that you already know. Sorry for that.
I mean, I know Hindi, but I'm not good at it. If there are, if like, I know only basic Hindi. Like, if I like this is literature, right? Heavy words will be there. So that's the issue.
Hmm. Okay, okay. Bhairav, if you have it in tweet or any written format, then you can share it in over the space also, so that people can later on look at it. So it was an amazing story that he shared, and also whatever he initially told about his own journey also. It was amazing. Okay. So that I quickly wrap up the guest poems section, I had allotted it 30 minutes, but we are into it for 1 hour. So I won't delay it further. For my poem that I had chosen, actually, I'd go to but initially, I mean, in the beginning, I would like to set the context on the topic with a sequence of two other poems. Just felt like two because it is very much in, in parallel with whatever discussions we are having around God's existence. So, what I always feel that I think Mahesh got dropped off. Okay, what I always feel is more than discussing about God, human minds usually get stuck in between. I mean, before going to that stage, most of us get stuck in asking if there is God at all or not. So, fortunately, by God's grace, there are many poems that I have written on God. So it is not like hardcore core God topic, but the way he has been present in my life, the way I have experienced him, felt him since childhood, that way by God's immense grace, I have quite a few poems. But on the existence topic, I would just like to set the context that just a few days back, I had written one poem on the ground that I have seen a lot of people now. I mean, the age I am in now, right now, by God's grace again, I have experienced quite many ups and downs in life, and I have seen that how how deceitful people can be, like unimaginably, unimaginably inhuman can be, uh, and that I mean, deceit. We might read about stories, read about deceit in stories or in movies we can watch. But when somebody goes through, you see in your surroundings people doing something, you have a doubt like, is that even a human? I mean, human beings, are they even real? I mean, I find that this question does pop up in a lot of people's mind these days, because all the things that keep on happening all around us these days is so very much strangely inhumane in behavior, that we have a question in humanity these days, that does humanity even exist? What does humanity mean? It's the human behavior, the quality of being a human, quality of rationalism, that is totally going away these days. So on certain personal experiences, on that context, I had written a poem. I had titled it as Leap of Faith, and it has just four lines. Those four lines are: God is a leap of faith. Are you sure? Then, my friend, you haven't met humans. So that is it. That was the poem. Then I got comments on this poem on Twitter from somebody called, I mean, he named himself as atheist. So I checked his Twitter handle, and it was like he is very much uh, vocal about his belief. So he was kind of giving me arguments that humans are for real, are there for real, and God is inexistent. So your leap of faith cannot be as big as it is for God. So I was trying to explain to him that it is based on the human behavior. I mean, on the behavior someone is expected of. Humans are expected to behave in a certain humane way, and God is also expected to behave in a certain godly way. We think of him in our minds. So keep aside God, think about human. Even, do you think humans are also behaving real? Like, should it be, what do we understand by real? You are not showing something which you are not really. So humans are not like this. So then I believe it is a worse leap of faith to believe in human than to than believing in God. So believing in God is probably much less riskier than believing in human these days. So that was my context of the poem, which, after when he confronted me with his different logics, gave birth to another poem. And the name of the poem is Created. So it is again very small, a small one, 8 lines, and it says, if God created man, it is God's best creation. Okay, before that, he actually had added that God did not create man. I mean, nobody knows if God created man or not, but man, of course, did create God. So he's trying to explain God is man made in the minds only. So there is no other existence of God. So it is man made. So, okay, point, valid point. If you want to connect the dots, that also gets connected somehow. But then somehow this poem came up. If God created man, it is God's best creation. And if man created God, then it's man's best creation. The only difference is God can destroy man, but man can destroy only the idea of God. I would read it again because there were some notification sounds, I think. So, if God created man, it is God's best creation. And if man created God, then it's man's best creation. The only difference is God can destroy man, but man can destroy only the idea of God. So what I feel is we are, I mean, hardly capable to even talk about God, but what we can only talk about is the idea of God. So uh, I chose a different poem for the topic, and this is just what I wanted to say because we were having discussions around God's existence. I share a very beautiful relationship with God by immense God's grace. And recently, I have gone to Trimbakeshwar and Shirdi as well. And I had visited, I mean, the pujas and all that I had done, the way they are, I mean, the mantras and all were done, uh, the explanation, the stories behind made me aware that there is always a personification, even if we think God as nature, like nature is as the superpower, the power that is beyond our control. Then in spiritualism, the way we look at it, there is a storytelling there, and through that story the actual core concept is being tried to explain to human minds, and there is a personification also there. I mean, I loved that about it. In the stories, like when you, even if you have a pet, suppose, you would love it as a person, right? So when you personify anything, even in my poetry, I have my poetry book, which is titled as Thank You Miss Poetry. So I have personified my poems as Miss Poetry. So when you personify somebody, it becomes easier for human minds to connect, relate, and love. So probably that is one of the reasons behind we personify God, we personify nature, we personify all different 5 elements of nature and treat them as gods. I mean, persons. Like God is also a kind of a person, right? If not human, with godly powers, definitely, but that is personified. Is again just because of sharing the kind of relation we need to share, being a part of this entire existence. So the poem that I want to read out is, I had written this one in 2017, 21st October. It's a poem from my book. And this speaks about my conflict. I think who was talking about it initially? And Bhairav also mentioned about that if God had existed, then why doesn't he come down and solve all our problems? And why is there are so many problems if God existed? Why are not there solutions? So this question is there, of course. External all problems there are, why there are no solutions, why there is so much injustice. There is a question there. Again, there if you travel a little more inward, you will see that there is conflict of thoughts in your own mind as well. Like sometimes you are having a certain thought, intellectually you are saying something to yourself, but you are emotionally feeling something different. That is, your emotions are not agreeing with your thoughts, they are not in sync. So your actions do not support your words. We ourselves are evidence of this, right? We hardly can match our words. That is why these days we say that people do not just keep their promise, they just do not value their own words, because their thoughts and actions do not match, their thoughts and emotions do not match. And the main reason behind is they are not in sync. There is a constant conflict between the two. So if you look there also, then you have a question again back to God, that God, if you are, suppose if you're existing inside me as well, then how does this happen? How does this happen that I want to do something, but in the heat of the moment I'm doing something else that goes beyond my control? Suppose I want to control my anger or talk to somebody in a certain way in a adverse situation, but I'm not able to do that. So there is a conflict inside. Why does that happen? If I am thinking about you constantly, if I am practicing about you constantly, then how does that color of yours wither away from my mind? So what is the reason behind this? So this is the context of this poem. You have it in the, it is Srikar has put the name of the yet again. You can click and have a view when I am reciting it. So here it goes. I had thought stillly that I was a great poet, as my God comes so often in my tears, in my poem. Since when my heart was kindled to feel larger than its size, I thought I was washed off all the filth of my mind. To my shock, always, I had the reality check. Surprise test each time it was failing, to which made me so ashamed. I stand there like a thief, hiding from the sight of your eyes. And at times I would fake innocence to myself, that there's no place to hide. What color is your color then? If withers so fast, I asked. Or am I not built to wear your color, not destined, I muttered. As I thought all this while, here appears a picture in my mind. This person who had just cleansed, coming out of that pond, 2 steps further, and he slipped on the muddy ground. That is the end of the poem. So I know probably I'll have to repeat it. I'll repeat it once again. I had thought stillily that I was a great poet, as my God comes so often in my tears, in my poem. Since when my heart was kindled to feel larger than its size, I thought I was washed off all the filth of my mind. But to my shock, always, I had the reality check. Surprise test each time it was, failing, to which made me so ashamed. I stand there like a thief, hiding from the sight of your eyes. And at times I would fake innocence to myself, knowing that there's no place to hide. What color is your color then, if withers so fast? I asked. Or am I not built to wear your color, not destined? I muttered. As I thought all this while, here appears a picture in my mind. This person who had just cleansed, coming out of that pond, 2 steps further, and He slipped on the muddy ground. That is all. I would love to listen what you could perceive from this poem.
It was a beautiful poem, Sonali.
Thank you so much, Harsh.
There are some things ना जिसको आप एक बार सुन के you can't express your thoughts. Like you need to spend some more time on it. So it's like one of those times. Like
Thank you
there are
so much,
books
Harsh.
and there are good books. Like you need to spend more time on some few pages. Think, reflect, think, reflect. It's kind of that.
That's a great compliment, Harsh. Thank you so much. That is one of the reasons why I wanted to do that, like share the poem in this space so that you have the visuals as well. Okay, and
Yeah, like love the poetry and the way it ended. The part, right? This person who has just cleansed coming out of that pond 2 steps further and he slips on the muddy ground. So yeah, that
hmm,
was like nice touch to the like end. Like is a good finishing, and it totally feels like you are living your poem or your poems are like living like your poems holds you like your thoughts completely. The binding that is totally clear in that. So yeah.
thank you so much. That's again a lovely way of and I totally receive it because not because I love myself, but because I love poetry by God's grace and love, and the topic is of course God, so it's on God, so I receive it for that reason. Thank you so much, Atul. Uh, yes, Rikar, go ahead.
Yeah, Sonali. It's a nice poem, and I have loved these. I love the sentence, like verse. It's since when my heart was kindled to feel larger than its size. It's really beautiful. Like, it's a really nice thought. I loved it. And if you can please explain me the climax, I didn't get it. Like, he slipped on the muddy ground. There, I kind of didn't get it.
Yes, yes, I'm just waiting for that. You know, you always give a summary of the poems, and I was waiting for that. That what could you perceive, and I'll of course summarize in the end. Parna and Bhairav, would you like to say something?
Yes, yes, Didi. It is a great poem, and I am looking at the poem. So, first you have written that, you feel somewhere inside your heart that you are a great poet because the pure God, you try to describe him through your poem, and he is coming in your poem means like you are able to describe him. That makes you feel that you are a great poet because you are connected to him. And sometimes what happens is that like you meet some reality check, like you are aware of your mistakes, like you are doing some stuff which is wrong, you are aware, and you know that he is also watching you. So you try to hide, but you know that you cannot hide from his watchful eyes. So he is always looking at you, and then in the mind, many types of thoughts come. Like sometimes pure, sometimes the thought of God is coming, and you are feeling very pure and you are feeling very great. And again, some dirty thoughts may come into your mind, and that shows you your reality check, and you cannot hide it from yourself or from the eyes of the divine. And you also are asking like uh, there is a line, what color is your color then, if it withers so fast? So you are also asking that if you what is your color? You are connected, you can feel him, but you still do not know him. So like you are you know him, you have tested him, but yet so much of him is yet unlearned. Like you cannot know him totally. So, the mind is playing and thoughts are coming, and your poetry is happening, and heart is feeling something. Sometimes it is very blissful, and sometimes it is down, and you can see, and your poem describes it. So, I want to add that there are three things. Like one is known, which we know. Uh, and there is a dimension called unknown which can be known, and there is a dimension which is unknowable, that is like knowing life is unknowable, it is always mystery, and God is also the bigger life which is always unknowable. Even if we can see his picture or his beauty and we can describe him, but still we cannot describe him. Like if God is silence, when we start describing him through our words, then the silence become then the silence itself breaks. So he is not there. When our when our mind will calm down, then he will be there. So we cannot describe the silence through words. It is like that. Sorry, I
Thank you.
misinterpreted.
No, 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 no. I mean, you till the time when I mean, when the conversation between God and I started, till that time you got it absolutely right. After that, the last part you have left, and the conversation part is a little hazily you have got what I wanted to confront God with, and the initial first part you have just totally perceived it as I wanted to, convey. Much for understanding the poem so much. Okay, so I'll just quickly explain what I wanted to speak about here. Is I had thought in the bracket still really. So Chori Chori, I was feeling like I was a very great poet. Ego is always there, and if even not ego, at least an idea about yourself. You the Bhairav explained it very nicely that as my God comes so often in my tears in my poem. So about tears also I feel very how do I say, I feel very what is the word should be, tears are very a kind of a blessing to human, because there are not only tears doesn't come only when you are sad or only when you are happy. We also know about happy tears, right? But there is another tear also, third type of tear also there is, when it is not even tears, it is not happy tears, it is something when you feel about that strange love you share with God. I would say that I have reached that level, but yes, I would say honestly, by God's immense grace, there have been ample number of times when I had tears just because of I was thinking about God. So I was not voluntarily thinking, but the thought came and it brought tears in my eyes, and I can't explain what a beautiful feeling that is. So, and even when I had been writing poems on God many a time. While writing that particular poem, tears would come. So that is the reference here. That as my God comes so often in my tears in my poem, since when my heart was kindled to feel larger than his size. So it is beyond the capacity of human heart that sometimes you get to feel so large about it. That is why I mentioned it larger than the size of heart. I thought I was washed off all the filth of my mind. So I was thinking like, oh, my job is done. Okay, I'm now good. I'm now a good person. Everything's settled. In my mind, I'm fine. I'm under control. I'm okay. All my actions would be good only. But to my shock, always, as I said, I had the reality check. Life tests you every now and then, every moment. Now we are talking, discussing. After this call, we don't know what the situation might be. Something would be confronting us, and how would we be reacting. These things keep on happening in life, and I have seen myself failing so many times, not doing the way I think. Usually in that manner I do not do so. Just as Bhairav put it correctly, that mistakes, i mm, I tend to make so many mistakes, and that in turn makes me feel so ashamed about myself. So that time I feel like that I am standing there like a thief, the way a thief who is almost caught or is going to be caught on the verge of getting caught. The feeling the thief would have, I have a similar feeling. And then I'm trying to hide from the sight of your eyes. Here, your is I'm addressing to God. So God is the second person here. And at times I would fake innocence to myself, knowing that there's no place to hide. So, of course, if you believe in God and if you know what God is, like the idea of God, inside outside, how will you hide your thoughts, your emotions, or your anything, your actions from God? It's just not possible. So now I am in a surrendered condition. Now what do? I thought of something I did in a different way. I thought about myself in a different, I mean, I had a different image about myself also. And now that is all shattered. I'm just confronted with my negative image. And I have nowhere to hide also. I have to now accept that reality about myself. And that surrendered me is now asking this question to God, that if कहते हैं ना रंग लग जाना. So if I am thinking about you and tears also can come up in my eyes in your name, then how is that possible that I'm making so many mistakes? Why am I not able to gain control over my wrong emotions? Why am I not able to do the things the right way all the time? So if I had thought that if thinking about you would guard me from doing this kind of mistakes, and if that belief was wrong, then what color you are? What you are then? If your color just gets washed away, then what color is it? My first question. Second question was, or am I not built to wear your color? Not destined. Or is it, am I thinking that I have very much, close proximity with God? And just because a little bit of tears are coming down, rolling down my cheeks, I'm thinking that I very much, I'm very much close to God. Is it my wrong notion? Am I not at all destined to be good, an ardent devotee of God? So these are the two questions I am asking to God. And kind of I'm constantly asking myself, very, in a very good search of an answer to this. And as I thought all this while, here appears a picture in my mind, and that this line is just very true. Believe me, there was a picture in my mind. This person who had just cleansed, coming out of that pond, two steps further, and he slipped on the muddy ground. So this four lines is actually telling about that it is not necessary when you cleanse your mind, it is not necessary when you have cleansed your mind that it will not get dirty again. It keeps on getting dirty, and you need to keep on getting washed. Every day we take bath, we cleanse ourselves. Once a day we cleanse ourselves, we do not think that we are done for the entire lifetime, right? So in the same manner, the mind also keeps on getting dirty. If the ground that you are walking on is muddy, you are for sure to sleep even if you take really good care. So you will have to cleanse again. So going back and forth to God is a continuous process. It cannot be a constant, once done forever. No, that is constant, to and fro. So that is what all we wanted to say. Thank you very much. I think I could explain, Srikar, whatever portion you did not get.
Now I would be saying what I wanted to say.
Yes, Parna, please go ahead.
Firstly, when you recited the poem, I tried like to find the meaning behind it. I'm sorry I got lost with like creating the visual image as well. So that's the reason I couldn't just reply back at that moment. But when you explained it so nicely and thoroughly, I got every single gist which you wanted to like say through your words. And it's really a beautiful poem. I completely agree now because of my ability of not finding the meaning back then. I couldn't reply back to you with because I was unable to form any kind of words. What should I say? The poem is beautiful, but I couldn't understand the meaning. Now, when you have like clarified it for me, things are yes forming more. Things are coming into popping into my head more with more clarity. So thank you for that. That's all I have to say.
Thank you so much, Prana. Thank you so much. We do that actually. Whatever poems we read, just if it is not that self-explanatory, we just go around to explain it. All of us do that. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. ओके भाई लोग कुछ बोलना चाहोगे भैरव रिकर अतुल महेश or else we'll move to the next section.
Yeah, Sonali, like I understood after you explained the poem, like I understood it's nice. Like I kind of perceived it like this, like we commit mistakes, we commit them over and over again, and like it's omen, like in the background, like we'll be evolving with each mistake, we'll make better mistakes, will fall into better pit holes and again come back again fall into other pit hole. So that's a continuous process and that's how we evolve. And so I kind of think that like it's not possible for a person to completely what we say like devoid of any mistake, devoid of any wrongdoing. Like that's how human learns, like by doing mistakes, by getting dirty again and again. So that's human life is. And also the God, you said that it's a continuous to and fro questioning about its existence. So like I kind of yeah like I kind of agree to that. Yes, it's a to an it's a never ending loop because like in one of the videos I've seen in Sadhguru's videos, like he said that we may not have the right apparatus to look but to see God. Maybe like the visual apparatus is not enough, or maybe so I mean that was something different perspective for me. Like maybe it may be true. We don't have the right apparatus. Maybe we'll build one in the future, but we're not sure yet. So like I take a stand in between. Like I don't want to be either side. I take the stand in between and wait for the right apparatus to confirm the existence of God. So till then, like I don't want to get into this battle of like whether God is there or not. I would rather be like I'll wait. I'll wait. If at all in time, like if human comes up with something, then it's fine. But till then, I don't jump into any conclusions. So that's how I perceived your poem, like human evolving through mistakes and this to and fro questioning. And I hope this to and fro questioning will someday lead to building that right apparatus. And it may be through meditation or anything, the apparatus, so that humans can actually perceive God existence.
Yes, Rika, absolutely. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. And exactly, I mean, everybody should be having their own journey and the way they want to, the time they want to. I mean, that's a complete single solo journey. It's just can't be expressed or shared or any way in any way can be contributed by anyone else. It's a complete inward journey is always a solo journey. But again, I think somewhere there is about the to and fro thing that I wanted to convey was not about the existence of God, but it was about, you know, I know. I mean, for me, God exists. I have just no doubt about it. For me, I'm just talking about, and I'm not trying to convince anybody that God exists or not. I'm just not trying to convince that. But for me, He exists. And my to and fro thing was that if you are existing, oh my dear God, if you're existing inside me, then how come I am making mistakes even after gaining control over my emotions intellectually? So I got the answers that in a murky land, in a muddy land, when you are walking, you will of course slip and fall and will get dirty every time. And every time you will get dirty, you will have to go back to the pond to cleanse. So that pond is the God I referred to actually. The metaphors in these four lines form that the pond is the God, that you go back to the God and again to cleanse yourself. And every time you'll get dirty, it's not like Ganga se dhul ke you become pure. No, going back means like you are getting yourself revived to the positive thought, positive energy, and cutting down on your negative energies in that aspect is what I meant.
Okay, Sonali, I guess it helps now. Like now, I got the actual clear picture. Like when you said that pond, like you're referring pond to God, so it kind of makes sense. But in your poem, I guess like you're playing with three people here. One is you, the other is you referred he in the last climax, and the other one now you're saying like the pond. I'm referring pond to God. So like so the confusion arose for me like when you that when I read that he, like I was thinking that you are referring to God, like he, like in actually, to be honest, when I first read the poem I thought that like even God is I mean God is not a flawless person, like he also makes mistakes, so he kind of slips and again gets dirty himself, so we are just humans.
Okay.
Oh, so vision aroused, yeah.
Okay, thanks. I mean, thanks for sharing and thanks that I understood that you misunderstood and so I clarified. Actually, the these last four lines here, this person becomes me and this pond becomes God. So again, actually two persons sliced down in two parts of the poem. Metaphors just changed. So
Yeah,
that manner.
actually, and also like you also change. I mean, you're that he you're referring is you, right?
Yes, exactly.
At least you could have written she. You completely changed the gender
No,
itself.
actually, how I visualized, I just wrote it that way. There is a shift in the
Okay.
scene, right? I mean, there are two scenes. There is a shift in the scene as soon as I say that the here appears the picture in my mind. So it's cut to scene two. So like that.
So
Got you.
maybe like your brain is he, right? Now.
Maybe in that image, it's genderless anyway. Like it's not about gender, but yeah, I put myself as that the person and pond as the god.
No, okay, got it. Fine, now it's clear.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
Didi, can
And
I
now, Bhairav,
can I
बोलिए.
add something? Okay.
Please go ahead.
Uh, uh, Didi, what I have observed is that our mind is always filled with either positive thoughts or sometimes negative thoughts or
Yes.
thoughts about. So when you are feeling positive thoughts, uh, what I am feeling is that you feel God as totally pure, and sometimes when unpure thoughts comes to your mind, and you
Mm.
identify yourself with your mind, so you question that if He is also within me and uh, the purity is within me, then why unpure thought coming within my mind? So I believe in Shiva because I when I think of God, so Shiva comes to my mind. Why? Because Shiva is like he is one God to whom everybody worships, like the devas and the Danavas, the creatures, birds. So he is called Pasupati, and even the Bhoot Pisach, everyone worships him. So for him, the God is the one who doesn't discriminate that his devotee is pure or impure. if you have love in your heart for him, na, then even if whoever you are, whatever you are now, may you are be filthy or some divine, he will accept you. So at the moment when you are feeling deep love, intense love for him, so at that moment you might be tears might be coming into your eyes, or I have also felt that feeling. So that intense feeling, na, so you cannot describe it, but tears comes to our eyes automatically when we are in deep love. So everybody has felt it one way or another in their life. So that intense love feeling, uh, in that feeling, now sometimes you might have experienced that you are not there, only he is there. So so uh, and also about the feminine and masculine, it is seen that Shiva is masculine and Shakti, her counterpart, is feminine, and both are not different. So he is depicted as Narishwar. So he is feminine and he is masculine. So yogic stories goes like this, that Shiva is inert, he is sitting, he is awareness, and Shakti is dancing around him. So whenever Shakti or our energy or our mind is, it is dancing. So mind is actually the energy. It is of three, like its quality is three types: Sattva, Raja, and Tamas. So it can think three types of kind of thoughts. So whenever the mind is dancing, the creation is happening. So when we sleep, the mind is not working, but when we wake up, the mind start to think this kind of things. So creation is also happening the way, like the Shiva and Shakti, the God is performing within us, because he is everywhere. So if we have that much sense within us that he is within everything, then can only we can feel him. Cannot describe it to everyone. Whoever that much sense, no, they can feel him in everywhere. They can feel him even if they look at the sky, or look at the tree, or look at the dog. So everywhere there is a touch of divine. So we only need to be sensitive for it. Also, I'll take one more minute, that our senses are, we cannot actually sense everything. Like our eyes can only see the visible range of wavelengths, and our ears can only listen to from 20 hertz to 20,000 kilohertz. So other ranges of frequencies we cannot listen to it. So those are the thing. Just because we cannot listen or we cannot see, that doesn't mean those things do not exist. So, uh, God is there or not, we need to look it within ourselves, and slowly, maybe by His grace, we can experience Him. So that means I want to say.
So beautifully put, Bhairav. Thank you so much. And I totally agree. Like whatever Bhoot Pisach that you mentioned about, I also am a very, I mean, God, when I say I believe in God, I mean that all the gods that we know of, not only in Hinduism, in any religion, I just believe in every one of them, because I know, I mean, I believe in the oneness of God. So, and Mahadev, the concept of Mahadev, how the entire explanation is about, I mean, connected with the existence. You know, if you scientifically or logically also you want to connect, there's immense logic. There just can make science out of it. The entire, mythology, how we address it, but there can be entire science behind it. But why wanted to, I mean, when you say that Bhoot Pisach, yes, God does has acceptance for both, but as a solo person, when you are having the inward journey, you kind of choose either this or that. You either okay, there is middle way again, but middle way is somebody who is curious, who is open kind of to both the ways. And there is some, you will meet people who are just against, not just against God, but also against the positive ways of life. They are just not towards the positive ways of life, they are towards the negative ways of life. I won't elaborate on that. You can make, you can understand what with that. Just extreme negatives. Those people are also there. And again, though there are others who are very positive. So in both the cases, when both the cases, for both the cases, you have God for both of them. But again, when it is your own journey, you have chosen one direction, you don't want to, sleep on the other direction. So that is where you are, um this repentance comes at times when you are failing again and again to stick to the path you have chosen. So by path I mean direction. To if God is a river, or if not God is a river, suppose if God is a sea and life is a river, then you are a leaf that is flowing along the river. So that is the positive direction, and negative direction would probably be something which is just uh, trying to swim against the waves in an opposite direction. So both the cases, it will flow down back to the sea only, but only the one that is flowing along will flow smoothly, and the one opposing will have to struggle all his way back to the sea alone. So that is what the difference is. Um, Thank you so much for adding that. I'll quickly move to the guest poet section. Mahesh, we heard one of your poems. I just wanted to, and probably because of the topic of the day, it got so long. I mean, the section was for 30 minutes and it has gone to 1.5 hours. So I'd like to quickly, Sri, welcome. You came after quite long. I have invited you to speak, so feel free to have them whenever you're ready to speak. So Mahesh is our guest poet tonight. So he is a content creator and copywriter and a poet of two books. One is Reflections of My Youth, and the other is Enter into Poetry. So, and I think Enter into Poetry has been co-authored by Anshika Sharma, and both the books are available in Amazon. So, Mahesh, please, I would request you to share your journey first with us, in brief, your story. I mean, beyond just a poet, we just want to know a little bit about you. So,
Hi Sonali. I think
yeah,
I missed
hi.
the part where you narrated your poem, and when I joined back, you were discussing about it. Uh,
Okay.
anyway, yeah.
Hmm.
So sorry for that, for being quite so long. And about my story, so I think I have given a brief introduction earlier, and everyone here was uh, online active that time. So I'll talk about poetry. So uh, in school, so as I told earlier, I was a nerd, studious guy, you can see a topper. So there were some girls who started writing poetry, and teachers were appreciating them. So being a competitive boy, I tried writing some and failed miserably. Like my teacher told me that it's very mediocre and not a good poetry. So I kind of stopped writing poetry, and I started to believe that maybe it's not my cup of tea and I will never write poetry. So after years, when I started my blog as a experiment to see if I can write things and it can resonate, or I can share my ideas to the world. And I published one. I had a series called Unsent Letters from a Secret Admirer, and on one of the letters, I got a comment that my writing is a poetic, and I should try writing a poem. So I thought maybe I should try, and I received a tremendous response on my first poem. So, and that's how I got reconnected to poetry, and the journey began.
That's lovely, Mahesh. I mean, from doubtful and then again getting back the belief, getting back the faith to write and being successful. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. So it's really inspiring for anybody who would might have stopped writing any time, any point of time in life. So, who are your favorite poets? Like, have you been reading poetry earlier, or it is just that you directly started writing and you explored it that way?
Okay, so I haven't read much poetry. So when I started, I thought I should read the most popular ones of our time. So I read the famous ones like uh, Milk and Honey by Rupi Kaur and stuff like that. So basically, I gone through 6, 7 books of quote unquote contemporary poets, and it was a disaster. So I didn't like those. So I kind of stay away from books. I mostly read poetry on. So my blog is on WordPress. So I have many writer friends and poets who have their blogs on WordPress. So I mostly read poetry on WordPress. And to say who is my favorite poet, I'll say I know she's my best friend. I read most of her poetry, and I have uh, seen her journey and growth. She has probably a biased opinion, but that is what it is.
Great, great. Nice to know that. Yeah, and yeah, I can get that about contemporary. I also am very choosy about, you know, uh, picking up books.
I read the poems by older, but not their books, since most of the poems in books are uh, from different, not very, we don't get to understand the feeling or get connected with that. But I do read selective stuff by uh, what we say, the legends in the book, in bits and
Hmm.
pieces. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And what do you think about poetry at this moment in India or in as a whole in the entire world? How do you see is uh, poetry getting the limelight and all, like in the mainstream
Okay,
media?
I'll answer that with a poem.
Hmm.
Give me a minute.
Sure. Okay. And Sri, yes.
Rikarana, who is your favorite poet?
Oh, I would say Emily Dickinson, and currently, like, if currently, like, do you know Jidnya Sujata? She's a open mic poet, so I love her,
No,
and
no.
yeah. Okay, well, like, check out her Insta profile. You will see her poems, Jidnya Sujata, and also she's on YouTube. So
Okay.
I love her poems, and if you want to talk about classics, then I'd go with Emily Dickinson. I just love her.
Okay,
Yes.
I'll start. So
Hmm. Sure.
it's titled Modern Literature, and it goes like, I'm rarest of the rare, more like a solar super flare. Leave it, you can't comprehend. I'm blessed with a something God sent, with the talent of making words rhyme, catapulting my readers every time to places in their memory or their fantasy. Sometimes they cry, sometimes there is escapism. You will say there are others too who got the same old cliche to offer to you. Authenticity has gone scanty. Copy of a copy of a copy is becoming trendy. As a millennial, as a poet, I can't stand people calling posers so late. Your falling attention span is depriving you from what real connection can, but can't several flings can't do. World is conceiving wrong notion of poetry, and even we are guilty for ignoring them just as a different, labeling fart as a saint. All they want is your attention. All they want your attention to number, turning a single sentence to poetry by simply pressing enter. Whereas we cater verses with subliminal thought in it, same words give you deeper meaning every time you revisit.
That's lovely. This is from your book, Enter, right? Enter into Poetry.
No, not from enter into poetry, but uh, it's the message we wanted to convey through enter into poetry. So there is interesting story behind that book.
Okay. So this was lovely. If you want to read out once again, everybody, you want to once more listen to it, or you are fine? I mean, you got the message.
I would love to hear it once more.
Yes.
Okay, so this time with explanation. So if you have noticed that many poets have their own style, and sometimes they come across as uh, they have attitude or self love or whatever you can say. So I start with I'm the rarest of rare, more like a solar super flare. Leave it, you can't comprehend. I'm blessed with something God sent. With the talent of making words rhyme, capable of teleporting my readers every goddamn time. To places in their memory or their fantasy. Sometimes they cry, sometimes there is escape. You will say there are others too who got the same old cliche to offer to you. Authenticity has gone scanty, copy of a copy is becoming trendy. So there is quote by Plato who said that art is nothing but a copy, but he, I have used copy 3 times, so it's even people are copying someone else's, so plagiarizing, blatantly plagiarizing others' work and calling themselves poets. So authenticity has gone scanty. Copy of a copy of a copy is becoming trendy. As millennial, as a poet, can't stand people calling posers so late. Your falling attention span is depriving you from what real connection can, but even several flings can't do. So about falling attention span, so if you notice that people are on mostly on Instagram or any other social network, people are liking and sharing two-liners or three-liners, which are easy to read in minimum time. So in the world where you have a new uh, entertainment given to you with just a swipe or a click, people have a falling attention span, so they don't read a larger text or a long poem. They will go with the smaller version. So yeah, your falling attention span is depriving you from what real connection can, but even several things can't do. World is conceiving wrong notion of poetry. We are guilty for ignoring them just as a different, labeling fart as a saint. All they want is your attention, fuel their numbers, turning a single sentence to poetry by simply pressing enter. Whereas we cater verses with subliminal thought in it, same words give deeper meaning every time you revisit.
That's that's a very beautiful one. Really, I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys, while we were discussing about your poems, we saw that you can come to different meaning or derive different meaning from the same lines you have wrote. So that's the beauty
Hmm.
of poetry. You every time, even if I conceived your poem as something right now, I may read the same thing and will connect with the situation I am facing in that moment.
Hmm.
So
Right.
that's not happening in the contemporary poetry, or we can debate even if it is a poetry, and that
Hmm.
can be a long discussion.
Yeah, that's in fact sad. And I mean, we had one, probably our first or second space topic was this, is poetry a dying art? And that's sad, and that's very true. The points that you spoke
That's why
about in the
never
point.
call me poet.
No, you are, Atul. You are.
I don't know. Like feels like sometime I actually am not. Like that's why I wrote poet maybe.
Oh, yeah. In your bio, I did see. Yes.
Okay, I'll share the story behind Enter.
Hmm.
So, if you have noticed the popular poets, if you see, these are just simple sentences, prose, simply broken into pieces and making look like poem and not really a poem. There are there
Hmm.
are there are zero poetic devices. It's just a quote broken into poetry. So, uh, to mock them, we used to. So I and Anshika used to text each other or even make poetry from each other's text and send.
Okay.
So yeah, so one day we were doing the same, having fun, and we realized that we have created some 20 poems, such so-called poems, in about 30 minutes. So we thought, why not we write a complete book?
Yeah.
So yeah, so we created that entire collection within just 4 hours with illustration and all. And I thought, let's publish it on my blog, since I don't wanted people to pay for that, because I don't think that was worthy. But to
Hmm.
my surprise, around 500 people downloaded that PDF for free in within a week. So that was surprising that people really do like the
Hmm.
micro poetry, as we what we can say. So I thought, why not release it on Amazon, and it went on to become number one for a few weeks, number one in poetry category for a few weeks, and
Great.
yeah.
Great. So, did
So
you do any kind of extra marketing for that, or it was just the way you were handling it, like the through your blog?
I'll give entire credit to my blog, since I have like almost 5,000 subscribers on my blog, so that
Hmm.
helped. But something which was supposed to be a joke made me a
Hmm.
best-selling poet. That's a joke in its own form.
That's the beauty of the unplanned plan. So, see, the plan is somebody else's, and you did not plan it, but it happened, right? So
Yeah,
here you
and
see the action
in the
of God.
book, I have added a note saying that if you like this shit, you should check out real poets and their real poems. You will love that. And even though I
Yes,
have called it shit, people are giving 5-star reviews and calling the poems so rich. It's a joke. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean the description. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, carry on. Like I'll add.
No, no, no problem. I'll tell later.
Yeah, okay. Let's not circulate it. Okay, so what I like got from it, like actually the attention span part also, right? And the part you were saying, the poetries are missing. That's like the depth or one person puts in, like the abstraction that the poet creates. That part is missing absolutely. Uh, and people like don't go towards poetry because like they can get out the meaning like on their own like what they think it portrays, but like it becomes a little bit of difficult task for them as a person who is not a poet. A poet can understand a poet, but a normal reader uh, doesn't understand the context that easily. So that's why they go towards like those simple poetry and like them, I guess. Like that's my take on it.
Okay, you have raised an interesting topic here. So uh, that's that's a dilemma of every poet. So if there are two parts like art and craft. So the we as poets, if we get more into honing our craft and making it to a mark or fitting into certain criteria, might miss on the people can easily understand or relate, and that is a part which make poetry kind of elite thing, and that's where we are losing. But yes, uh, we can write a real good poetry that people can easily understand, and that's the task we should work on, right? the
Yeah.
ma- the major part of such kind of people or posts being famous is the point of relatability. People can easily relate, and they can read it in a very minute time. That's the win for them. And so I just read yesterday Virginia Woolf's letter to a young poet, where she's saying that poetry is not dead, but uh, poets are being, caught in their own space where they have created certain image for themselves, and they want to fit themselves into that, and that's how they lose their connection with the world and what people are doing, what people wants to read. Yeah, but we don't. At the same time, she says that don't write just for people or readers. Even doing that, poet may lose his charm over the time.
Yeah, like I totally got it. Like I feel like I got it. And yeah, like if someone is that much of a great poet, then and like if he loves what he is doing, then he will definitely do it. Like he will write what he feels he want to create, irrespective of the audience, because he's not selling his poetry, right? He is living it. So that part, and you don't know which poetry might get hit. Like you just keep doing your thing, and it will speak out eventually. So yeah.
That's a beautiful conversation going on between two young, promising poets, and I'm so
Yeah,
happy
I'll
to
I'll
see this.
highly recommend everyone in this space to go and read the Virginia Woolf's uh, letter to a young poet. It was hard hitting. I had some personal attacks. Yeah,
Mhm.
everyone should read it, please.
Okay, sure. If you have a link, please do feel free to share with us. Then we can.
Okay, I'll
Okay, and actually, this is why where I mean, what I also feel is this is so true that you spoke about. I mean, not only about the poets who are writing I mean, the famous poets, and it is also about the audience. Or it's just like the movies, in the case of the movies, and it is also, it is in the case, I mean, as the kind of poetry that becomes popular shapes the readers as well. So gradually we are, I mean, gradually we are, I would say, rather we are far away from what actually poetry had a glory in past centuries. You know, the admirers and the people who appreciated poetry, we are now far away of it. So somehow I feel that we all as poetry lovers, even if not as poets, if we do not want to address ourselves as poet, but we are poetry lovers, we try to find poetry in everything. So it is, the onus is on us to bring back the glory of poetry. This brings me down to this question to you, Mahesh, that what do you think? Uh, I mean, what kind of advice, if you are to advise this young generation or the modern day world writers or even the readers, how would you like to advise them so that uh, there is no doubt in the poetry or
Yeah,
understanding of poetry?
I have already done that. So many people often DM me asking for advice. So I first ask question that even if a person is juggling with a one ball, will you still call it juggling? It is right, even if it's one ball. But will you pay to watch him juggle a single ball, or would you call that is a art? So when person is juggling with three balls, four balls, right? People even do circus, pay to watch people juggle with various multiple things. So the thing about what make a good read distinct with a mediocre piece is how many poetic devices or richness you can bring in poetry. So one can even write a simple rhyme. So rhyme is a one device, but if I can fit rhyme and create a scene around it while rhyming, that's a skill. So over the time, people should strive to create that sense where they can do multiple things while uh, keeping it simple. But that's a tricky part. Then oftentimes it happens that people get more focused on the craft part where they have to comply to certain rule and they lose their original thoughts or what they wanted to convey. So it may happen that I have something to say, but since it I can't find words to rhyme that with the previous line, I forgot or leave that part and write something else that's being dishonest with ourselves. And if we start being dishonest with ourselves, and that starts to reflect in our poetry, and that's not who you are, and uh, it loses its character, and that's how poetry is losing. So we have multiple battles to fight. Like we have to be a good poet. At the same time, we have to be honest with ourselves and our readers too. Not a
Very
simple
valid
job.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah, loved
Yes,
it.
very valid point. Yeah, this point is extremely amazing, Mahesh. I agree. And whenever I write, I do feel the same at times. That sometimes the poem would come on it on its own in a rhyming fashion, and some poems would come rhymes. So it is not necessary to be rhyming, but it should make the sense, and it should have the image that it has been born for. So being dishonest is the first crime you would do with your poetry.
Exactly.
So yeah,
Yeah,
even
so
if it is
being
not rhyming, yeah, Mahesh, go ahead.
yeah, so being a critic of the modern contemporary Insta Tumblr poetry, we often uh, get asked the question, who are you to decide what is poetry or what is good poetry and what is the distinction? So maybe this example, what we can use in answering that. We are not saying
Yes,
that those are not poems. Okay, we accept, but we have to distinguish between. And uh, many people have even if you listen to great poets like even Javed Akhtar, he says that like mathematics, there is a whole craft to poetry. So there are
hmm.
things that have we can measure or see to judge whether it's a good or bad piece.
Yes, very truly said. Very truly said. Yes, Atul.
Part like where we conceal ourselves, like uh, not being true ourselves, right? But I feel like poetry, when we do poetry, like it has to have our unique element, but it doesn't always have to have what we as a person believe. Um, like if we keep that thing in our poetry will be quite biased. Like we should have openness to our poetry, like not contradicting it, but I feel like we should have openness to our poetry. Let it roam beyond our imagination. But also, like I also feel blocking in that part. Like if I had to write something that is too difficult for me to see practically, I tend to avoid it. Uh, Even for the sake of like, I can make poetry more beautiful. I can write poetry more beautifully, but I try to block myself because that thing I believe is too much like अतिशय वो वाला part मैं रोक लेता हूँ उस चीज को तो ये
Okay, so let me correct you. So I'm not saying that you have to be biased or keep your personal opinions or imbibe that you can't write something you don't believe in or that's not your thought. But what I'm saying is, while writing any poetry, we have this thought of chain of thoughts going on in our head. So when you try to break that just because you have to comply to certain rules, and once you break that chain of thoughts, you get lost, and that getting lost might hamper the overall poem, and it it often gets difficult to get back on track once you get lost or break your chain of thought. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, now I understood the context much better. But like, uh, if you know that this place is your home, right? So you can always come back to your home. Uh, and sometimes when you are lost, then you find something new. So that part is also there. I'm not denying that what you are saying doesn't exist, but this part is also there.
Yeah, I totally agree. I just said that it is sometimes that you get back on track, whether it's the original track you were on or something else. Even I have done many times that I started writing something with a different thought and ended with a completely entirely different thing or perspective. So yeah,
Yeah,
I understand your point. Yeah.
yeah. It has to be beautiful in the end.
Thank you, both of you. Thank you so much for that interaction, and I just totally loved it. And I would like to quickly summarize, and for the sake of time, I would not further delay. I would just quickly want to summarize my understanding from this last conversation is we probably need to be just honest with what we are seeing inside so that we can bring it outside, and after it has come outside we would name it if it is poetry or it is a story or it is a prose poetry or it is something else. So that honesty should be the first criteria, and then after all art is free. I mean, you can bind it with rules, it is always there, but we can name it later on. It should not be like I aim at writing a poem. No, you are aiming to express yourself, and let the expression be. After it has been expressed, name it then. So probably that approach can help a lot of the poets we are discussing about. So yeah, and keeping aside all this, thank you so much, Mahesh, for joining as a guest poet tonight and spending time with us. It was an awesome, range of
My pleasure,
thoughts.
Sonali.
Yeah, welcome. And we have just 15 minutes. We will close at 11, and we are still to cover three sections. Probably the last we can skip because we have already been doing this for so long. But yeah, the two other sections are poem of the day and quiz on poem of the day. So the poem of the day is a very good one. I mean, it's I have chosen it, so it's of course my favorite. But before I move to that section, quickly asking Bhairav and Srikar, you have not spoken for a long time. So do you want to say anything or I can move ahead?
Yes, yes, Sakra, you can move ahead.
Okay. Okay.
You can move ahead, Sonali. You can move ahead.
Thank you, Srikar. Thank you, Bhairav. Okay, so this is, I mean, the topic since the poem of the day is always on the topic. So the topic being God and my closest uh, poet since childhood, as you already know, Bhairav and Srikar knows, Atul and Mahesh might not know. So the closest poet to Tagore, of course, and anytime when I'm short of, my research time, I just take shelter in his poetry. So most of the poems probably chosen in all the spaces, the highest number of chosen poems is probably Tagore's, and today again it's Tagore. And Tagore has been famous for writing poems on varied topics. He has been uh, renowned as a very versatile poet who have thought about topics which are probably beyond imagination. Also, thinking between two topics and making building a topic in between those two topics. So kind of that thought process would go in. But what I feel is probably on the topic of God, he has just, I mean, probably it is the best of all the topics that he has covered. So this poem that I have selected today is from Gitanjali again, and it is the poem number 13. You have it in your screen. Today I have shared the screenshot, and Srikar has it posted in the space. So this is a prose poem. Okay, so I'll read it, I'll recite it now. The song that I came to sing remains unsung to this day. I have spent my days in stringing and in unstringing my instrument. The time has not come true. The words have not been rightly set. Only there is the agony of wishing in my heart. The blossom has not opened. Only the wind is sighing by. I have not seen his face, nor have I listened to his voice. Only I have heard his gentle footsteps from the road before my house. The livelong day has passed in spreading his seat on the floor, but the lamp has not been lit, and I cannot ask him into my house. I live in the hope of meeting with him, but the is not yet. So I'll read it again. The song that I came to sing remains unsung to this day. I have spent my days in stringing and in unstringing my instrument. The time has not come true. The words have not been rightly set. Only there is the agony of wishing in my heart. The blossom has not opened. Only the wind is sighing by. I have not seen his face, nor have I listened to his voice. Only I have heard his gentle footsteps from the road before my house. The livelong day has passed in spreading his seat on the floor, but the lamp has not been lit, and I cannot ask him into my house. I live in the hope of meeting with him, but this meeting is not yet. That's all. Any thoughts before I analyze the poem?
Like Tagore, like he wants to meet God, but it's not happening yet. He's trying different ways for it, but it's not happening yet, and it still he couldn't do so. That's what I understood.
Yes, in a nutshell, it is so. And if anybody wants to share their perception, feel free to share, or I will quickly analyze it because we are just 9 minutes to go. Okay.
Um, can I share
Yes, better.
something?
Please, please.
Uh, the first line says that the song that I came to sing remains unsung to this day. So, and all the poem, total poem, is actually explaining it. So, I live in the hope of meeting with him, but this meeting is not yet. So, I feel like Tagore is trying to sing his deepest song, the song through which he can explain his feelings completely. But however he much he is explaining, yet he is not able to explain the intent, like the point he is trying to explain. So he is actually explaining the periphery. It is like when he is trying to explain silence, then he will not be able to explain silence through words, because uh, the moment we utter words, the silence is broken. So it is like that for me, in my understanding.
Oh my, you just nailed it in the end, huh? I mean that is a quote, used quote, or it is your quote that when you are trying to explain silence through words, it is no more silence. Is it yours or it is someone else's?
I don't know. I have felt it, so I
So
cannot.
that's a quote by Bhairav, huh? Just keep a note and keep it officially yours somewhere. That's an amazing quote. An amazing quote. So we have silence now. Anyway, uh, that's truly so. And in this song, I mean, in this poem, also he exactly he is trying to talk about the in ultimate potential, probably like the Gitanjali entire collection is about God and his relationship with God, his conversation with God, and uh, it's about him and God. So all the poems, there are 108 poems, all the poems are about God. And I'm sorry, I usually have the original Bengali version with me. Today I was short of time. I couldn't manage my time well enough to have the original Bengali version. But I trust Gitanjali because it has been self-translated by Tagore. So though it loses the original essence a little bit from its first language when it is translated to the second language, but still it has been done by Tagore himself. So uh, I do trust it. So the song that I came to sing remains unsung to this day. So here is a beautiful message that he tries to convey, that the life he's trying to lead for the reason has not been yet met, is what he is trying to probably say with this metaphor, that the song that I came to sing remains unsung to this day. I have spent my days in stringing and in unstringing my instrument. So he is here probably referring to the trivial things that we keep doing in life, doing and undoing kind of things, just preparing for life, lifelong, and just doing it. So in that manner, he is trying to express that I have spent my days in stringing and in unstringing my instrument. My instrument is like my life, and I have been preparing and just, again undoing those things. Those days has just gone like that. The time has not come true. The words have not been rightly set. Only there is the agony of wishing in my heart. So I'm still wishing, and that pain of wishing in my heart is there, and nothing has been done yet, correctly done yet. The time has not, and the words that needs to be rightly said has not been rightly said. So it's full of metaphors here. He is trying to compare, link up his life with the composition of a song. The blossom has not opened, only the wind is sighing by. So the flower, the bud that is about to blossom hasn't blossomed yet, and still only the wind is sighing by, trying to get it blossomed. I have not seen his face, nor have I listened to his voice. Only I have heard his gentle footsteps from the road before my house. So here there is an affirmation. He gets to hear the footsteps of God from the road before my house. Like literally, God is not coming and walking in front of his house, not in a literal sense, of course, but here he probably tries to mean that he can feel he can feel the closeness of himself with God, that God is nearing his door, but still he has not managed to see the face of God, and or listen to his voice. He has not yet been blessed enough or capable enough to make this meeting happen. The livelong day has passed in spreading his seat on the floor. So long days he is just passed and spreading his seat on the floor. So he is just arranging for the seating arrangement for God. He is making all those sorts of arrangement, but the lamp has not been lit. The probably the final finishing is not yet done, and I cannot ask him into my house. So even though God is standing just uh, at my door, but I am still not completely done to invite him inside my house. So this is the preparedness, is probably talking about the preparedness of a soul to receive God in him, you know, or at least perceive God in its completeness, because God is always, if we understand well, or if we want to agree, actually God is there within us. But to perceive him completely, there should be the readiness of the soul to receive him, to accept him, his existence. So here he probably wants to explain that but the lamp has not been lit and I cannot ask him into my house. I live in the hope of meeting with him, but this meeting is not yet. So this last line is very hopeful, and I don't know why I am again having goosebumps. So it is saying that he is living in the hope of meeting God, but this meeting has not happened. So there is a touch of little sorrow, and I mean a blend of sorrowness and hope, both together done. It's a simple, plain poem, but carries a lot of depth and a lot of feelings uh, inside, is what I feel. So, anybody wants to say anything about this composition?
Hello,
Yes, Atul.
I'm audible or like is there too much noise in the background?
No, you are audible.
Okay. So like this poetry feels like finding God, right? Am I right?
Yes, correct.
So like we all are searching for something one day or another. So let's say if we find God one day, okay, what after that? So that's the question I feel. People are they even looking this question what they will do like once they find God, or because they haven't found him yet, so that never came.
Beautiful question,
I
Atul. And I just, yes, Bhairav, please go ahead.
I want to ask Atul Anna that once you are intoxicated, what after that? There is nothing to be done actually. Stay intoxicated in that whatever intoxicant you are using.
Sorry.
Uh, Bhaiya, I am saying that like you were asking, na? So after getting God, after that, so
Yeah.
like there, uh, if you reached God or you realized God or you reached the state of happiness, then there is nothing to do actually. You just be in that happiness, and that is all, because we are all searching for happiness na. So we are not asking if we get that happiness, what after that. There is nothing to do, just sit in the happiness. Like Shiva, uh, keeping our eyes closed.
Okay,
So
so
I'll strongly disagree with that. I think so. Even if we get to know the answer, who is God or why we exist, it's human tendency that we go start a journey to get answer for another question or
No,
something
no.
else.
See,
who created God?
Anna,
Like,
what I am saying is that we are all seeking happiness, na. So once you are happy, suppose you are happy now, you are happy in every way. So if you are happy now, then there should be no desire. If desires are completely fulfilled, then you will be happy. And when you are happy, there, if you observe yourself clearly, then there are no desire itself. So if there are
Bhairav.
no desire, see, listen, and I'm just explaining. After
Excuse
that, you
me.
can say.
Sorry to interrupt. Sonali, like the discussion is going really well. It's interesting, but I'm sorry, it's past 11 and I'm not able to focus. Can I take a leave?
Yes, Rika, I get it.
Hello.
I mean, it's 11 o'clock.
Okay,
Yeah, am I audible?
okay.
Yeah. Actually, I changed my sleep schedule these days. I'm sleeping at 10 o'clock and getting up early. So it's
Okay.
it's
No
kind of
issues.
hard.
No
yeah, it's
issues.
Yeah.
11:30.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Srika. Thank
Anna.
you so
Good
much.
night, sleeper.
Good night. Bye.
Yes, Bhairav. Yeah. Yeah, bye,
So,
Srika. Bhairav and Mahesh will talk.
Uh,
Yes, Bhairav,
so
go ahead.
I am not against anything. What I am saying is that life is happening like that. See, because of desire, na, incomplete desire, we are not happy because we are searching for happiness. So happiness will come when there is no desire, and if there is no desire, there will be no need for any action, because behind every action there is desire. So when we are happy, like if we found God, then we will be happy, and there will be nothing to do. Just enjoy the happiness. That is what I am saying.
Bhairav, actually, there is ample research done on the psychology of human nature. So I don't. It is scientifically proven that even we are not, you know, even a happy person can be in a pursuit of knowledge. I don't think there is connection between happiness and pursuing knowledge. So it's not going to be a state like that. I'm so happy that I give up curiosity or my thoughts. It's not going to happen. So even if we get to know the truth about our existence or God, I think it's high probable that we will try to pursue something else, or maybe we will try to learn something else from our curiosity or our adventure or journey to find a next truth is not gonna end. And if it end at all, I think it will be a boring life. That's like being not being a human. That's
I will like
what I see, or
it
I
will
can say.
feel like purpose of life is complete. So let's like leave their like living body and like end of all. Start of all is the end of all.
Then there will be no mind to feel anything boring, because boringness is also a thought, na. Like if when you think that you know everything, then only you will feel boring. Uh,
Isn't
Yeah,
that
that's
what
the
you are
point.
saying?
Like
That
the
even know
point.
everything when you are happy and there is nothing else to pursue or know.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why we said that, yeah.
Yeah, boringness is that knowledge of that, thinking of that I know everything, then
Okay, I'll
everything.
try to shift topic to a lighter note. I don't exactly remember the movie, but uh, they have shown that like people get to meet the God, but when people ask them why you created us, what is our purpose, the God replies, because I can. Like, if robots ask us why you created us, what is the purpose, we will say that because we can and we wanted you to do certain tasks, and that's it. That's why we created. So if we get to know answer like that, like there is no glorious purpose or anything for human existence, what will be our reaction and how we will react to that? I think that's a good, uh, you know, thing to contemplate on.
I guess this topic needs like it's never ending. So I guess we can drop it off.
Yes, yes,
Move on.
yes. It's
On.
11, yeah, 11:10, and soon we will. I think all of us will fall asleep a little later because I mean it's getting quite late. But we
Yeah.
will host this topic back again, and interesting questions. Very much, I resonate with your question, Atul, and I completely get your answer, Bhairav. And also, Mahesh, I get where from this conflict of, of the answers you are having. So, since we will have to end it soon, I would just like to summarize on the basis of what I understand is that's a very valid question, Atul. What if we meet God? So meeting God is probably what I understand till date with my own journey might not be might not might not be what you feel or resonate with, but what I truly feel, what I truly understand is um, meeting God does not mean that you are meeting somebody, some external entity, a second person. The way I am meeting you, this is not something meeting first person, second person. For the convenience of thought, for the ease of thought, for the ease of understanding, might be we uh, bifurcate this God and man concept differently so that man gets to understand what God is. Probably man is God and God is man. So if that is the case, meeting with God is probably meeting with oneself. So when one meets with oneself, what would be the point of action? Of
Yeah.
course, whatever is in the hand, whatever is in the hand. Suppose just take an example of a driver who is standing in front of his car, and he is standing in front of all day long. He is watching the shadow of his car and also his car. So if the shadow of his car is the perception, he looks for on it for a long time. He thinks that shadow is his world, and if he starts looking at the car for a long time, he thinks that the entire world, his entire world of action is this car only. So if you keep on looking at a certain thing for a very long period, you get fixated into that, and your identity gets attached into that uh, particular thing, and you tend to forget what you are. So you are neither the shadow of the car nor that car, you are the driver. So when you are in awareness, when you get to know that you are the driver, you can utilize, you can make the right use of the shadow, and also can make right use. So it is just about the awareness, it's just about meeting with yourself, being receiving and open to what uh, the clone side of yours, that is the God side of yours, has to offer to you, and then be in action, just like a driver would be. That's it, nothing complicated. We make it complicated, is what I believe. And yes, Mahesh, we have the last section. I don't want to drop it because we have been religiously doing this. So I have 5 questions for the quiz on poem. After we listen to you, what you have to say, then we will just directly shift to this quiz section and we'll end the space. Go
Okay,
ahead.
I'll try to sum it up as
Hmm.
compact as I can. So
Yes.
what you were saying that so here is my analogy or a thought you can say. So I uh, getting closer to a God is getting closer to a truth, right? That what you were saying that we should pursue truth. So I think the better way to go near to the God is not by doing people do in the name searching for truth. So even if you are a religious person and if you believe that God has created universe, so if universe has is following certain rules that physics and science has discovered, then why you do that as language of God and try to pursue and know more about the universe and God. So pursuit of knowledge is something that you strive for, and maybe that will be our spiritual or religious journey, and it should be. That's my thought. Thank you.
That's perfectly like as we know, we have different ways to find ourselves. We have different ways to find God. Love that for God is called devotion. What Bhairav was mentioning, Mirabai, what Hirsch had recited the poem about. You have that way. You have the path of knowledge which has been demonstrated by Gautam Buddha. He didn't say that worship me or worship divine through the intellectual path using intelligence through that gyan yoga that we say, and the other part is karma yoga. Somebody may be completely atheist, doesn't believe in God, but he is just on the right track of life. He just believes in doing his task at hand completely devotionally with full dedication, 100% dedication, honesty. That is it. At the end of the journey he will find himself, he will find God. That is the main purpose. So knowledge, as you were saying, intellectually going about in pursuit of knowledge is the intellectual direction. In love, whatever poem that I just recited uh, by Tagore, that is for the love of God, in the direction of love of God. So bhakti yoga and karma yoga, you can see examples of people like Swami Vivekananda. They completely believed in the hard work for humanity, work for people, work selflessly. So those all these 3 kinds of approach will in the end lead you to know yourself and just let you do the action that is just at your hand, free from any kind of emotions or attachment to emotions. So, we attach our identity with emotions, be it wrong emotions, right emotions. Attachment, when we say detach, we detachment means that we need to get detached with the emotions, the feelings that we constantly are, in the thunderstorm of. So we are always in the battle of emotions. So that emotion will get detached from, when in the end you will get to know what it is all about, this big picture. So that is what I believe. And no more of other discussions. I'll quickly go on to the quiz section. So first question, on the topic of the, poem of the day: what does the collection of the poetry in Gitanjali belong to the category of poems? I repeat, what does the collection of poetry in Gitanjali belong in the category of poems? No one? No one? No tries even? Okay, I'll
Option.
answer that.
What are the categories of
Options.
poems?
Okay, I do not have the options ready with me, so I'll and I could have given still, but I'm hurrying up because I haven't done my dinner even. So let me just answer it. So the answer is prose poems. So these type of poems are called prose poems, and he named it as Gitanjali song offerings. Now, second question, what are prose poems? I hope you're not Googling.
I guess poetry that necessary that don't rhyme but just ruin the meaning.
Yes, somewhat closer. So, a piece of imaginative poetic writing in prose. So, it will have a little bit more inclination towards prose, but it has a poetic touch. It is not completely prose and not, rhyming kind of a poetry, that core poetry kind of a thing. So, this is about prose poems. Third question: can prose poems rhyme?
Yeah, you just said.
Yes.
Yes. So, what actually distinguishes it is it lacks the line breaks associated with poetry. Like we usually write, right, the first line, then the second line. That those line breaks are missing in this structure. But the prose poem usually maintains a poetic quality, and often it utilizes the techniques common to poetry, such as fragmentation, then compression, repetition, and rhyme is also there at times. So it's kind of you are telling a prose in a poetic manner. Yes, Mahesh.
So is it just me who's having problem with connecting with this space, or
Oh, Bhairav, Atul, are you able to hear me?
Yeah, loud
Yes,
and clear.
yes.
Okay, Mahesh, it seems at your end.
yeah?
God is not happy with you.
It will be good soon. Okay, I'll quickly move to the fourth question. The fourth question is uh, the book Gitanjali had an introduction by whom? Like we all books have an introduction section. So in the book of Gitanjali, who has written this introduction part?
Like no idea. Like should we know it?
Okay, Bhairav, any guesses?
Mahatma Gandhi.
Okay, so answer is William Butler Yeats. William Butler Yeats had written the introduction section of the Nobel Prize winning book Gitanjali by Tagore. So my fifth question and the last question of today is, apart from being a poet, spot another thing in common between Tagore and W.B. Yeats, that is William Butler Yeats. Spot another thing in common between these two people.
Nobel Prize.
William Butler, yes,
They are both
absolutely
human.
right.
Yeah,
Okay,
not there.
absolutely right, Atul. So Atul wins the quiz, it seems. The only question answered is this one. So uh, W.B. Yeats had also won the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1923, exactly 10 years after Tagore had received the Nobel Prize. And he was an Irish poet who lived from 13 June 1865 to 28th January 1939. He was an Irish poet, dramatist, and prose writer, one of the greatest English language poets of the 20th century. So he also had won the Nobel Prize.
Okay.
Yes, perfect. So this ends our quiz section. Atul, we usually have a prize for whoever wins the quiz section, and you
Okay.
have won it. So just any
Okay.
guesses what could be the prize be?
Any book?
Yes, you're right. It's and the book is of and the book is, of course, my book. So
Okay.
yeah. So just send me your email address in the DM and I'll send my book to you.
Okay. Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
Atul. Thank you for your time and for the first time you joined and you stayed all the long. I mean, all these 3 hours, more than 3 hours now. And Bhairav, I am just so thankful that you have come back and stayed the entire time. I was missing you so much for all the last few spaces. Even the celebration space you could not join, you did not join. We had an amazing celebration space. And believe me, I have structurally broken down my spaces. You could hear me mentioning it multiple times, that guest
Yes,
points,
yes.
30 minutes, POTD,
Sorry,
30
I was
minutes.
unable to.
No problem at all. But just I had taken your suggestion that we need to time bound, time box. I mean, you wanted to cut it down to 1 hour, but you can see, I mean, live discussions like this when everybody is intense with their thoughts, live conversations cannot be cut down like recorded uh, videos. But yeah, yes, we can modulate or moderate it with segmenting it in time boxed manner. So I had done that in the previous two spaces. Last space when we had Nikki as the guest poet, we were dot on time. But today probably God, God has been probably the most controversial topic, I would say rather. I mean, all these days we were almost in similar, some same page kind of a thing. But today I could see a lot of different opinions, questions coming up, and I just did not want to take away the charm of the moment everybody was feeling like to when they were talking about it. So it was an amazing space. Thank you so much for coming and spending your time with us, both of you. And please feel free to say anything in the end if you want to say.
Yeah, just give me those five random words
Thank
when you are
you.
ready.
Yes. Atul, I think I just heard you smile. I couldn't get what you said.
I said like, give me those five random words, like today or tomorrow.
Oh, yes. Everybody left. Yeah, I just forgot. And yeah,
Yeah,
five
like
words. We are two people. So can we give more than one word?
You can give like five words that will be random, but you can give multiple pairs that will be there.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So I would give you probably guest, God,
Okay.
and river.
Guest, God, river, like two more words. Five. It has to be five.
Yeah, Bhairav would give the other two.
Okay.
darkness and light.
Darkness and light. Okay. I'll note it down. But yeah,
So
I'll see.
Atul would have to write another second poem on God this time. We have given such words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great time. Thank you so much. Thank you, Bhairav. Thank you, Atul.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good
Thank you.
night.
Wish you good night.
Goodbye.
Yeah. Chalo. Happy weekend. Bye.
Bye.